Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to a new episode of T3PO Live. That's right. We're recording live in Arizona, which, you know, a lot of people ask me, hey, are you in Southern California? I am not. So just, be aware of that, guys. I know some people often get me confused with Southern California because I'm out there so frequently. But we are going to be talking about so much stuff. It's a really, really packed show. We'll get to as much of it as we can possibly get to, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the wildfires going on and how it has impacted both entertainment and theme parks. It's been a very interesting couple of days, but we'll also talk about some good stuff too. In order to, if you are from the Southern California area or if you have family there, friends, maybe take your mind off it for just a little bit. Let's go ahead and welcome our amazing panel. In order to help us do that, we have, let's see here, Bob from Barry Place 28. We have Erica from Erica and Raph, and Nolan Thunder. What is going on, everybody?
Hello, everybody. Glad to see you all. Love the vibe of everyone's backgrounds here. This is the cool hour right here.
Yeah, it is very interesting. No avatars, which is, always nice to see some lovely faces out there on the panel, and I'm sure our audience loves it too. So thank you one and all for joining us here tonight on T3PO Live. Hopefully you got, some Mr. H action there. You got some pro that Park Place this morning. So hopefully everybody's doing all right. How are you guys doing? Bob, in particular, how are you faring?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here, and it's a nice, sunny side on one side of the area because I am in Southern California. Now on this side, it's a little orange and dull and gray. It's not looking so hot over there, but I'm a little away from some fires, so that's good. Fortunately, I have some friends who are affected by it, so I feel bad for them, but we'll be talking about that in a little bit.
Absolutely. And I'm sure everybody is ready to get into some of those stories. Let's go ahead and crack into some of those. Our first one of the day, and it's a big one, folks, because not often do you see theme parks actually close because of something like fires? But we actually did see that for Universal Studios Hollywood. This by Scott Goosen here. This was January 8th. Due to extreme winds and fire conditions, Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal City Walk will be closed today. Universal says they expect to reopen tomorrow, but will continue to assess the situation. We'll get into that, assessing the situation, in just a moment. We also have a big article from Marvin Montanaro, who I might have, poked and prodded a little bit and said, hey, let's go ahead and talk about this, because this is really, really big stuff. Universal Studios Hollywood forced to shut down as Pacific Palisades. Fires ravage Southern California. This is by Marvin Montanaro in January 8th. Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal City Walk announced an unexpected closure today as Southern California faces extreme fire conditions caused by the Palisade fires. At this point, it was only limited to a couple major fires. Now it's multiple. We'll get into that in just a moment. The decision was prompted by strong winds, widespread power outages, and safety concerns for both staff and guests. Yes, the night preceding this announcement, actually, they suffered a power outage at Universal Studios Hollywood, which really, as one could imagine, disrupted operations. And a lot of people felt that that was one of the main driving forces as to why Universal Studios Hollywood was actually closed that day. I believe that was definitely one of the reasons. Also, too, you have a lot of team members or cast members who work at Universal Studios Hollywood, obviously, who have families and friends, or maybe even their own homes at risk with some of these fires as well. But that decision of closing on January 8th, well, that ran into January 9th very, very quickly, because on the night of the 8th, we had this large blaze break out. Again, this is about 20 miles or so removed from the Palisades fire over here in Runyon Canyon, and it was very, very close to not only Universal Studios Hollywood, which is about a mile north of where this blaze actually broke out, but I would say a couple hundred yards south of this was the actual Hollywood Boulevard, where you have like the Chinese Grammar Theater, for example. You have where Jimmy Kimmel Live hosts his show right next to the El Capitan Theater, also owned by Disney, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, all of those places a couple of yards away from this blaze. And it was very, very concerning, as one could imagine, because these fires, with the power of these huge gusts of wind, up to about 100 miles per hour behind it, have been traveling very, very quickly up and down the valley here. So a lot of people were obviously rightfully concerned, and were reacting accordingly. I think the area did get an evacuation order, but as you can see, it was gridlocked to try to get out of here, because everybody was being dumped on these roadways all at once. Now, thankfully, I will say the Runyon Canyon fire was very aggressively fought. As you can see right here, containment forward progress has been stopped, and crews are working to put out hotspots within the fire perimeter and keep the wind from spreading embers. This fire was rapidly and aggressively attacked using coordinated air and ground fire suppression efforts. Residents heeded the timely evacuation order. You can just see here, this is the Pacific Palisades, roughly on where the largest, I would say, of these fires actually broke out. And then if we travel along here, we can get to, let me see, Beverly Glen. Oh, hang on. I lost my spot. Hang on a second. We can see the 405 right there. And I'm looking for the 101. Yeah, here we go. Down here, it's a few miles out. That was the Runyon Canyon fire. And then literally north of that was Universal Studios Hollywood. And south of that was Hollywood Boulevard. I'm glad that this was so aggressively fought, because, man, a lot of structures could have been lost forever. A lot of Hollywood history, and also too homes, could have been lit ablaze here. It's not to say that it came out completely unscathed. I think there were some houses actually lost, but thankfully it seems to be this fire to be contained in a very densely populated area. Guys, your reactions to all of this? Universal Studios closed for 2 days in a row because of these fires, and a lot of disruptions in the area.
Well, I guess I'll go first since I'm over here in Southern California. You
Please.
know, it's really unfortunate that this has happened. I think it's totally they needed to shut down Universal Studios because the fires broke out there yesterday, obviously in Studio City, but also just for the safety of everyone. People trying to get there. I mean, and not only that, but you've got the hazardous air quality, which just wouldn't behoove any of the people going there, employees,
Right.
guests. So I think it was a good call for them. When I saw it yesterday, I wasn't surprised, and then when I saw it again today, I knew it was going to happen again today, and I'm sure it's going to actually happen again tomorrow unless they get some of these under control. But right now, most of the fires are not contained. A lot of them have zero containment, which is just sad. We actually had Park and Sip. If you guys know who that is, he's another streamer out here in California. Him and his family lost their home. There's a GoFundMe page up for them right now. But it's so sad to see, just thousands upon thousands of houses that have been affected and the families that have been affected, by these fires. And, they didn't just lose their house. They lost everything in the house. And you've got, stars and Olympians and, medals and trophies, and those are just physical things. But to see the devastation like what you're showing here is just beyond horrible. And then on top of that, I was doing a live stream at Disneyland last night, and it was interesting because I knew people were going to talk about the fires, and so I put up a map of where the fires were. So the people who were from outside of California who weren't familiar with how far away the fires were from the theme parks, I could show them where they were at, and it was really nice. I have a supporter on my channel, and they are great. Always, doing memberships and whatnot. Unfortunately, they and their family, they had to be evacuated yesterday. They went to a hotel. Apparently, a lot of the people who were evacuated went to this nearby hotel. And they informed me while I was doing my live stream last night that they're really happy that I was doing a live stream at Disneyland. It gave them something else to focus on. I guess they were running the news, and everyone was watching the news and feeling really depressed there in the hotel lobby. Because they're seeing their homes burning down, their friends' homes burning down. So I thought it was really neat that this person actually went to the hotel lobby front desk and said, look, everyone's really upset. Can you please change the channel because the news is just upsetting everyone? I'm watching a guy on YouTube right now at Disneyland. Would you mind putting his YouTube channel on? It gives us something to watch and to think about something else. And they did. They obliged and they put it on. And they informed me that there was, up to about, 20 or 30 people watching. And I thought that was great to that I'm just doing a live stream at Disneyland, and the fact that people were, taking their minds off of, what was happening, that felt good. And I was really obviously sad to hear that so many people are affected, but at the same time, it was nice hearing that, something I was doing was helping bring some joy to other people. So this is gonna be long lasting and devastating for many of these families, and I feel so bad because it's just we just had the devastations over there, with the hurricane on the East Coast with Carolina, and now we got this on the West Coast. It's awful and devastating for all these family members.
This is tough because I know like Leota Ghost, for example, lived around this area. It basically grew up around this area next to Palisades, Beverly Hills, that sort of spot. You can see right here, this is along the Pacific Coast Highway. This is Malibu. Looking out, I mean, the average cost of these homes probably $14 million, something like that. I mean, these are very expensive structures that have been lost. I believe last time I checked, and this was yesterday, the damage was over $50 billion at least. You can see right here, this is the Pacific Palisades, some of the residential areas. Every single lot that you see right there average about 30 homes within every single block there. And I mean, the damage is it's incalculable. And a lot of people are affected. I know some people were even saying it's like, well, this is a little overhyped. This is a little dramatic. California wildfires do, they show up every single year. I'm not saying that they don't, but usually they're out in the, San Fernando Valley, pretty removed from these very urban centers right here, especially the Palisades. I've never seen anything quite like this, especially wintertime, and for how strong these winds are, just really it was a witch's brew of bad things, and this is tough. This is tough to wrap your head around.
Honestly,
sure.
it looks like one of the great tragedies that's happened in our country over the past several years. It honestly, I don't mean this jokingly. It literally reminds me of like monster movies you see in Hollywood. You know, after like a Godzilla devastation attack or something. Like, and this is all real. These were all people who had their own lives, their own homes, family, pets. Like, it is disgusting that this was even able to get to this point, and the sheer lack of preparation that happened prior to this, and it shows the effects. And if I'm all the people devastated by this, one of the greatest things I want, besides the safety of my family and be able to return to, you know, hopefully a happier place in life, will be a change to happen in order to stop this from ever happening again. Because this literally looks like the pictures, you know, you'd see of other kinds. I won't go too specific for the nature of the show, obviously, but other kinds of tragedies that's hit our nation and world in the past. And it's something you'll see in a museum. So I really hope that proper action's taken to make a change for the better.
Yeah, and the last time I looked into it, 0% containment for any of these fires, other than that Runyon Canyon fire that we had mentioned before. And right now, the biggest concern is Mount Wilson in particular, because most LA TV stations, that be KCBS, KNBC, KTLA, KABC, KCAL, KTTV, and KCOP, etc., and FM stations, you can see them listed below, transmit from Mount Wilson. Those antennas are in danger at the moment. This was just a couple of hours ago. We'll have to monitor this situation, because obviously the disruption that would actually happen if these broadcasts antennas were to go down would be quite a bit. We are also seeing a lot of delayed productions that were either set to be filming this week or were actively filming this week. You see the headline from Variety: LA fires halt production on Fallout Season 2, Abbott Elementary, Grey's Anatomy, Hacks, Suits, LA, and more TV series. I believe we have CBS shutting down NCIS Origins After Midnight, Papa's House, I believe, Papa's House, the Neighborhood tapings for After Midnight. Let's see, some Disney productions also stand to be delayed as well with all of this. Disney 20th Century production shutdown, Dr. Odyssey, Grey's Anatomy, and Jimmy Kimmel Live. So
Grey's Anatomy's still on.
Grey's Anatomy's still on. Hey, you know what? It does show up in the ratings there, Nolan. I will say, it's much more it's much cheaper than some of those big expensive shows like The Acolyte, and does chart. So there's reason to keep it going, I suppose. This is
I gotta
Courthouse.
say, these studios are pretty lucky that, of course, not to say this is obviously devastation here, but they're lucky it didn't get closer to them and burnt down the whole studios. I'm sure, Vash, you have that show every Sunday, Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you. I'm sure you guys have talked before about, what was it, the Universal fire that burned all the archives of so many old shows and stuff like that. Like, we could have had a repeat of history with that, except even greater scale.
Oh, absolutely. And to demonstrate just how close they actually were, again, this is the Runyon Canyon fire. Just a little bit of a mile north, you have the 101. If it hopped the 101, that's Universal Studios Hollywood right there. That's the backlot that was almost completely incinerated. I believe it was 2008 or something like that was when the last big fire took down the confrontation attraction there, all of that. This is Warner Brothers right here, and then just beyond that is the Disney lot right here. So, I mean, when you're talking 17,000 acres being incinerated in a fire in this surrounding area, you can just imagine if a fire were to break out in this area, just how devastating it would have been to the entertainment industry at large. So, Nolan, I think you're exactly correct there. They were very lucky this didn't occur there. That's not to say that they were
the greatest enemy of history. We saw this a few years ago with that church. I apologize, I cannot remember the name of it right now, but there was historic church or cathedral or something like that burned down a few years ago, and it's literally, decades, if not hundreds of years of history gone in an instant like that. It's tragic. And of course, we know about not to go too gloom here. Of course, like how families are impacted, jobs. But when I see that Google Earth thing you're showing, Vash, where we see like the overhead view of all the studios, I just think back to the Warner Brothers logo and all those DVDs and stuff I would grow up with, VHS tapes, where it would show like the overhead view of like the studios, and you'd show the logo and stuff, and it would all fade together, and it's just so recognizable to me. Yeah, exactly, right there. And it just, I have a lot of connection to this kind of history, and it's devastating. It's very devastating, and we got out lucky with this one, I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, yes. That's for sure, because the Runyon Canyon, I mean, I was up pretty late last night watching it pretty closely, because it's like, oh, that's really close to so many different things. Now, obviously, not everybody came out as lucky as that, unfortunately. But man, I mean, all the props to the fire department, by the way. I mean, I know they're working out there. I think there was like 7,500 firefighters in total that have been attacking all of these fires all throughout the Southern California area. I know they're understaffed, undermanned, undersupplied, but they're still doing as much as they can to save as much as they can. Well, props to them for actually doing that. You can see right here, this is some video footage from inside Universal Studios Hollywood, specifically in the lower lot. You can just see those just smoke filling the air, and it's pretty wild. I will say, one glimmer of hope, perhaps. This just still didn't stop construction workers from showing up to work on the construction for Fast and Furious.
Essential workers, everybody.
I guess so. It's just absolutely wild to me that it's like, okay, well, that's not going to stop our construction there. Oh, there you go. This is an image from over the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, right there. So that was a Google Earth view of it. This is near the ground.
Not to sound tacky here, but it's strangely odd how even when nature's most devastating form, it can still look so beautiful, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a beauty in its own way, that's for sure. But man, tough stuff. Also, the Sheraton facilities next to Universal Studios Hollywood actually opened up for evacuees. That was pretty nice of them. I know Airbnb is attempting to support people out here. A number of hotels and people are opening up their lots and providing meals and food for people who have been displaced. Again, over 180,000 people, I believe, have been given evacuation orders. Who knows what the state of their homes will be like when they actually eventually return. So lots of stuff developing here, lots of stuff going on. We just want to go ahead and provide an update to all of you at home as to what the situation was out here. As far as something like Disneyland goes, or Six Flags Magic Mountain. Six Flags Magic Mountain is far north of these areas, so it's unlikely they will be affected by these fires, but, I say that crossing my fingers here. Also, too, Disneyland is well south of the city proper. So Disneyland, it's LAX right there. Runyon is up there. Palisades up there. Disneyland is near, let me see if I can find it on this map right here. Long Beach, Huntington Beach, Santa Ana, Anaheim. That's Disneyland. So it's pretty far removed. It's unlikely to be affected, but just to give you a state of the land and what's actually going on in Southern California right now, we thought we'd update you here. Does anybody have any additional commentary on this specific topic?
I gotta say, it's interesting
so
how
I'm speechless.
Erica, please.
No, it's just so devastating. I'm just speechless. It's like, what do you say? What can you say to bring any comfort, to anyone affected? I've never seen images like this. I mean, Hurricane Katrina was bad, but this is like, I feel this is on another level.
Yeah. it's really bad. The air quality and here's the thing: even if your house isn't affected, you're likely without power if you're in one of the surrounding areas. So that's the other thing that's going on. Communications might be disrupted. I mean, it's getting bad out there. That's for sure. And our hearts, our most sincere prayers are going out to every single person affected by this in Southern California. I mean, it goes without saying. Some people, they have their political biases, and that's fine. But for right now, I'm here to support as much as possible, get these stories out, and hopefully do some good in the small way that we can here.
We have room, but we're in Germany.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
it's a little far. Yeah,
Like-
it's
it's
Just
a
a
little
bit
far, but
a
I
little
mean,
bit of a
we
drive.
have room.
We've covered some wild stuff over the past few months. We were just reporting on a hurricane here that we didn't know how badly that was going to affect the parks and all that. And of course, everything that happened in Fort Myers and all that. And then we have the fires breaking out. The other half of the country's in ice, and if there's one thing, it's very easy, especially with all the crazy things going on right now in the world. If I could say something to the viewers out there, it would be in times of distress like this, tragedies and stuff like that. If there's one thing that shines through is unity. And a lot of stuff like this can bring people together despite their political differences or whatever have you. So I really hope that we continue to see the nobleness and the goodwill of people in times such as this, because I think that can bring hope and a good reason to have optimism of where things can go despite all this.
I agree. I think that is a perfect cap there to this definitely dour topic, but one that's very important to cover as we can do here on That Pod Place. Now, let's go ahead and skip to a little bit of I don't know if it's a happier story, but it's an interesting story. And Bob, you were talking about it right when you joined before we went live right here. We're talking about, of course, the Haunted Mansion Carriage House, or the Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond gift shop. Yes, we brought this up a couple of times, but we have updates to share with you folks. If you haven't been familiar with the story, covering it like we have, it was noted initially that when the carriage house opened, which, by the way, the structure itself is it is an eyesore in the middle of Disneyland, that is for sure. But when it finally opened, because a lot of people were waiting, okay, if we're getting this big structure, hopefully the inside will be good. Well, when the inside did make its debut, it was noted that a lot of off-the-shelf Amazon items were found. A piece of AI artwork bought from, I believe, a place called Redbubble was found up there in the rafters. A lot of stuff that wasn't very befitting of the prestigious ranks of Imagineering. And so that was very disappointing to see. We talked about last week and how there was a fountain located near this structure outside along the walls of the Haunted Mansion Q area that's been newly constructed, and how that was apparently off the shelf. You can buy your own fountain there for a little under $5,000, it would seem. Well, it would appear that the company is doing something about at least a little bit of this, and that being the AI artwork that was up there in the rafters has apparently been removed. Now, if you've been following That Park Place, it's interesting because we did talk about its removal, but we didn't talk about actually what it was replaced with. And that's going to be the discussion of topic today, because yes, I think it's an acknowledgement by the company that that was the wrong move by removing it. But then they've replaced it with these series of cards here. Bob, you want to go ahead and walk us through just a little bit of what we've encountered already and what we've now replaced this with?
Yeah, so the ironic thing was I was there last night, and you can go to my live stream and see it, but I was like, whoa, they took down the AI art. That's okay, interesting. I mean, it's very controversial. And to be honest with you, my whole feeling is you've got thousands of artists and creators that can do stuff like this. Isn't that what we're paying these people for? They're paying these people for to create something new and cool from the Haunted Mansion or something that had to do with Madame Leota. But no, they get some AI art, and then sorry about that. And then the other thing is, what do they replace it with? Well, they replace it with some seance cards that they also bought from the internet. What the heck? And those are them right there. It's like, really? You couldn't create something on your own and draw it up? There it is, a Seance Oracle. For $51, you too can buy your own set. And I just was like, ay. So to me, it just boggles my mind. It's like you just got criticized for using AI art. And then you go on the internet and you buy seance cards to put up there. You couldn't come up with something on your own.
That's like going on Fiverr and wanting a handcrafted picture, and then you get an AI art as a result. Oh, wait.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Erica, you
You're already
Erica?
called out going on Amazon and buying
Right.
that statue with the veil, and you're getting called out again for going online and ordering stuff. So you're not running from the criticism, or the same criticism at that, and that is the lack of creativity, which is what you're supposed to be known for. That's the torch you're supposed to be carrying since, the early fathers of the Walt Disney Company. Golly.
Well,
I
I think
mean-
that's been our biggest complaint, though, hasn't it? Is that there's no more
Mhm.
creativity when it comes to, Tiana's Bayou Adventure and some of the other things they've been doing. It's just like lackluster, and they're not doing anything that's new and creative. Sorry, Dre. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I appreciate the commentary there, because I think it's absolutely mind-boggling that a place that now charges in excess of $200 per day, now has stuff like this, where
Mhm.
$5
like Erica mentioned,
art from Amazon.
yeah, art from Amazon, art from wherever this place is, not sure, but off the shelf stuff that isn't being constructed or illustrated by your talented artisans that are working at Walt Disney Imagineering.
That
And
must
Andy
be so
Castro.
frustrating for people who collect like things from theme parks, because you're gonna have like, oh yeah, this is from opening day at Disney World. Look at this little mini statue of Walt here, and he's gonna have this random Amazon thing. It's like, yeah, they paid $50 for that. It's in my collection. Kind of lame.
Yeah, it is kind
So
of
funny
lame.
you said that, because I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, there's really nothing to collect here in terms of any value. For if anyone were to get their hands on that, what do you have to say? Someone could say, "Oh, I got the same cards off on the internet
Well,
too. Had them for
Which one
years."
is the original?
Now, to
Yes.
give them a little bit of credit, at least they put
Mhm.
in the lamp that was in the original Haunted Mansion that they now have above the crystal ball, and that's cool. Things like that make me go, okay, they really are paying attention to detail here, but a lot of the stuff up, and by the way, those little gargoyle that you see right there, which is kind of in front of the seance cards,
Yes.
they were selling those gargoyles. I bought 2 of them myself when they were selling them, and I use them for my Halloween decorations. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. They put up their own, stuff. That's fine. But when you have people that are just buying stuff off the internet or creating or buying AI art, and you're not actually doing anything original, there's no, like, oh wow, that's a one of a kind. You can't get that anywhere, and this stays in the shop type feel. This is like, oh well, they got this off the internet. I can do the same thing, and big deal. I mean, I'm not going to go buy these Sans cards. It drives me nuts that they're not being creative, and that's what they need. And the other thing is, Marie Jade said it in the chat as well. It's supposed to be the Museum of the Weird, not Madame Leota's theme. They lied again. So, well, originally that was the feel, is that they were going to put a bunch of Museum of the Weird stuff inside there. And then, when I got the hint that it was Madame Leota's, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully they're going to still have a lot of the Museum of the Weird. But no, they really didn't put anything other than, some T-shirts that look like they might have been, from a Raleigh Crump design with the gargoyles. There's nothing really in there that says Museum of the Weird, and I think they would have got a lot more cred, from everyone if they had done something like that. But they didn't. And my source had originally said, "Hey, this place is going to have all sorts of Museum of the Weird stuff all along the tops of the shop." And when I started seeing the concept art and everything, I'm like, "What's this?" And then I asked my source, I'm like, "What's going on here?" They open the shop and there's not Museum of the Weird stuff. It just feels like they went out cheap.
It does seem like that, and apparently cheap in more ways than one. You mentioned the crystal ball, and I do appreciate them having kind of a crystal ball interactive effect within this shop right here. I do think that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, though, it seems to be intermittent when it works and doesn't work, which is really sad. You can see the before on your right, what it's supposed to look like, and what it was looking like when Matt Desmond here actually saw it on, almost 6 o'clock, January 5th, 2025. Now, there was an update to this post suggesting that it was working again, but it's like, why is this intermittent? Why is this actually happening? It's really, really
At least it didn't have the blue
frustrating.
screen of death on it. Like the text and all that involved.
With a little mouse cursor.
How does it work? I just want to. Can you play that? The 14
Yes.
clip?
So this is kind of the effect right
without
here.
sound. I just want to see if the image.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it looks like?
You don't see your face?
No. You don't. No, it just does that. Now, I will tell you, it looks a lot more blue in person, bluish purple, than it does here. Looks very kind of, washed out. But it almost looks like that swirly glitter that, some bottles of wine have. It almost looks like that inside that's just swirling around with some lights that are kind of coming off and on. It's nothing spectacular. It's cool looking. I mean, up close, it's very cool looking. And underneath the lampshade, it looks great. But it was working for me last night. I had no problems with it. Now, here's the interesting thing. I actually was in the shop last night and I ran into some viewers of mine. They actually liked the shop, thought it was great. And then another lady was standing next to me and she's from New Orleans. And I asked her, I said, "How do you like the shop?" She goes, "I love it. I think it's great. It looks wonderful. Da da da." And I wasn't going to go into any details about my thoughts and concerns or criticism and whatnot. I kind of just wanted to get the take of everyone else. What do you think? I'm in the shop for the first time. I'd seen it many, many times since they opened it, but being inside of it last night, gave me a new feel for it. I will say it does look a lot better inside than watching it on a video. Oh, or that video that I took right there that you're showing. Thank you. But yeah, it definitely looks better in person. But one of my main concerns, again, when I walked in was, okay, why do we have, fresh paint on the walls, yet the ceiling looks like it's all decayed and, crumbling and inside. And when everything outside and inside looks great except for the roof, it didn't go well with me. So
yeah, it's
buy one of those things?
What's that?
Can you purchase the crystal ball?
No.
No, it's interactive.
They do have them. So right there,
Not
you can barely see it, but to the very bottom left corner, there's a Madame Leota statue there. You can buy that statue in there, and you can actually take the crystal ball off her head or not. That's your choice.
Oh.
You can barely see. It looks like little wings at the bottoms there. Can you go down with your cursor? Down. Oh, there, right there. There it is. So that right there is an actual Madame Leota statue that you can purchase. And it is a nice little statue. It's not huge, but they do have that on display so that you can purchase that if you want. That's the closest to a crystal ball you're going to get. There it is.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know if you can
that's
zoom
actually
in.
kind of pretty.
That's
it's not
actually
bad.
pretty good.
So that
like
you can
that.
buy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'd add that to my display.
There it is.
That is pretty.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do
Actually,
is
the
nice.
crystal ball is not even on her face right now or her head.
Right.
But you can
so
put it
they've
on.
lifted it. Well,
I wonder
that's
if I can make it.
You
That's
probably
cool.
could. I also felt like there needed to be something else on this table.
First, so I can copy it. Because I can't engineer that on my own.
There you go.
Tune in
There we
tomorrow,
go.
folks, on
I need a
Erica's
how-to
channel for the
video.
do-it-yourself crystal ball tutorial video.
Okay, just go to my live stream from last night and you'll see the actual box because I show it. So there you go.
Hey, it's
There you go.
2025. I'm already thinking October of this year. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell. So,
Now,
I mean,
you were
overall,
gonna say?
it was nice to finally go into it. Like you said, I think it's still an eyesore. Still looks like a shed. It seems out of place. The merchandise is nice inside, and some of the merchandise is new.
Mhm.
There's new stuff that wasn't over in the old shop, so that's nice. It's just not a huge shop. So,
Yeah, not a huge shop, which I'm surprised because if you look at the exterior of this thing is absolutely massive, and I think it looks larger than it actually is because of the reduced scales of the surrounding facades, that being Haunted Mansion and
well,
formerly
also
Splash Mountain, not to My Adventure.
that roof is huge. They didn't need to make
Yeah.
it that big, but they did.
Yes.
And the other thing is to remember the reason why it looks so small inside is because where the register is, there's a door for employees that's off to let's see, your right hand side if you're facing the register, and that's
Right.
like back stock and storage area for a lot of stuff as well. So that's why it's also not as big inside.
I see. Yeah. Well,
I'd look at that. It's cute.
I hope more
I mean, like,
fixes are
cover
on the way
plans,
for
I
some
think
of this stuff because this shop is an eyesore, and given the quality of work output that we've seen from Imagineering and some of the latest projects, including this one, it really has I don't know, it's shaken my faith in WDI that they can even pull off some of the more ambitious projects that they have on the horizon, that being like Monsters Incorporated Land, for example, the Avatar Land, the Coco ride that they've announced for Disney California Adventure, I believe. Rivers of America project. It's like, wow, if this is going to be the quality of work that we're going to get out of attractions and experiences going forward, we're in some tough shape. I'll leave you with this one right here. This tweet from Andy Castro, who worked at Mice Chat for many, many years. I believe still works for them occasionally. The world's biggest entertainment company in the world that hires thousands of artists that could create custom art for this shop. I believe what he was referring to there, got caught using AI generated art and then replaced it with some random stuff bought online for $51 once they got dragged for it. Embarrassing. Yes, I do believe it is embarrassing. That's understated. It is really a black eye for this once prestigious design firm, that being Imagineering. And there you go. Erica, were you about to say something?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to make sure that we were getting all the commentary that we possibly could, and I'm gonna need.
We're disgusted, so we're silent.
Well, if you were disgusted before, well, I don't know. This might disgust you even more. But if you weren't disgusted before, well, now this is really going to disgust you because we're talking about sewage now. That's great. Again. Yep. You'll note that here on that the Park Place Network, we've been talking about sewage at Disney for a little while now because it's weird. It keeps reoccurring. It keeps happening on Walt Disney World property, and largely it's been contained to like the Frontierland, Liberty Square area of the Magic Kingdom. You can see this report right here from September 3rd, 2023. Country Bear Jamboree and most of Frontierland closed to possible ruptured sewage line at Magic Kingdom. You can see right there, cast member standing in front of what is a construction zone now, with large commercial trucks coming in looking to assess the situation and fix the problem. That's not great, especially in the middle of an operating day. And then just about a year later, on August 3rd of 2024, Liberty Square was shut down. Major portions of Liberty Square were shut down due to a sewage leak. You can actually see this from Disney Food Blog, some video of cast members going in there attempting to clean up from said sewage leak. That's not great for sure. And then a little while later, on the outskirts of the theme parks next to Fort Wilderness, there was another sewage leak, this time in the street, and that shut down a major thoroughfare that is used in Fort Wilderness. And then, that was August 9th, 2024. And then later on, sewage leak again affecting Magic Kingdom. I forget when exactly this was. I believe it was December of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. You can see right there cast members having to clean up this mess as well. Lots of towels again around the Frontierland Liberty Square area, which is really, really weird that this keeps popping off in this specific area. Well, to change things up a little bit, and why we're talking about sewage today, here you go. From Marvin Montanaro on That Park Place, Walt Disney World sewage leak gets worse and causes closure of major Epcot attractions. This is the first time that Epcot has been featured in any of these stories. A recent sewage leak at Epcot led to the closure of Soarin' Around the World attraction and both restrooms in the Land Pavilion at Walt Disney World. This information comes sourced by Belle from Phi Belle Phi, I believe is how she refers to herself on Twitter. Soarin' and both sets of restrooms in the Land Pavilion that is, are currently closed due to a sewage leak from the second floor restroom cascading down to the first floor area. A real, well, I guess it's appropriate, real crappy situation right there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this photo right here to illuminate what is going on. So that's the first floor. That's the second floor. There are restrooms just beyond that. And yeah, you had sewage raining down from the ceiling this time in the middle of the Land Pavilion. And you can see cast members out there with towels looking to mitigate the I guess the impact from the sewage there. A really, really disturbing situation.
City of Tomorrow, everybody.
This is race.
City of Tomorrow. No. Get your mind out of the gutter. I said city.
That's a good point. This incident raised significant concerns over the infrastructure at Walt Disney World Resort. It's part of a troubling pattern of similar occurrences across the resort, calling into question the maintenance standards of a destination that commands premium prices from its guests. On January 3rd, guests and cast members noticed water dripping from the ceiling near the entrance of Soarin' Around the World. The situation quickly escalated as putrid water began pouring down, flooding the area between the entrance and the exit. Custodial staff responded quickly, using towels to contain water, and the attraction was swiftly closed to ensure guest safety. Not good at all. I don't know what is going on with the infrastructure at Walt Disney World. Guys, your thoughts on all of this?
Well, it's a pretty crappy topic right now.
So many punny things to say, but they're so inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm sure Epcot hates being the butt of all jokes. So,
well, so Vash, you and I have talked about this before, but when they had the problems over at Disneyland, especially over in Adventureland, with the restrooms there and all the backing up, and so one of the things that they've been doing at Disneyland quite a bit, especially if you go into the permits to look at them, is that they're actually updating a lot of the pipes and electrical and whatnot, just because the land is, or the park is so old. And they haven't updated a lot of these areas. And I have a feeling that's what we're running into when it comes to, Magic Kingdom. And I know some of these parks are not as old as Disneyland or Magic Kingdom, but like Epcot. But still, if who knows, maybe, they just haven't updated anything in a long time. They're not properly, looking for that type of maintenance to be done. And then you have these problems that are just, occurring right and left. And it's really sad to see because literally sewage issues are not a fun thing. I don't even like walking around the parks when you smell the sewage, much less have to see it happen like this.
When you go to a theme park, the last thing you should be thinking about is the bathroom, unless that is where you need to be making your way to. It kind of shocks me that this isn't more, of course, it's news we're reporting on it here and all that, but it kind of surprised me it's not more mainline news, that everyone's talking about stuff. Because to me, if it weren't for draining rivers of America and stuff like that, this is one of the most insulting things I think I've seen happen to Disney in recent times, because nothing will take you out of the move and the vibe of the magic of Disney than just smelling that aroma. It just brings back all the problems of reality, and it just shows how cheap you look. Can you get much worse than literally underpaid employees? Because every time someone's cleaning the bathrooms, they are underpaid, just FYI. But they're scrubbing all this stuff away. Like, isn't that just the first formula for having your vacation ruined and the first domino and everything going wrong? I just feel like this is what's representing Josh D'Amaro's legacy with Disney. Cutting costs and not putting money into the right kinds of things. Like, why not take some of that money you're going to be spending on, say, draining rivers of America, because you know that's not going to be a cheap project with all the hurdles they're going to have to face, and put into, I don't know, a competent sewer system. I mean, I don't want to just rag on the parks, but when it's literally something you can't ignore, and this has been happening routinely, this is something that you'd expect at a theme park you've never heard of that is about 5 years to close because they opened at a time before the internet, not at a place you're spending thousands of dollars to go to. This is just pathetic in my mind.
I don't understand is where is, I guess, like the health department on this? Where's SIFTOD?
Yeah.
Clearly something is not up to code. And, where is, I don't know if OSHA would have any jurisdiction in a situation like this. I mean, you're talking people's bodily fluid. It's a biohazard, um, and yeah, I'm kind of in shock too why this isn't more front and center to really hold Disney, accountable. Because I'm also on the another thing that goes through my head is Lillian, Walt's wife. The one thing she didn't want to see happen was the parks, have that reputation of being, dirty.
Right.
And, I kind of feel bad in that regard that the company has not taken care of their parks in such a manner that has kept and maintained that reputation of high standards of cleanliness, and then you got the whole pandemic. They went nuts over keeping everything sanitized and clean. And you had all that time too, when we were shut down, to go through and really do your maintenance and make sure everything was up to code, and like you could have gotten in at that time and really done some very thorough maintenance, like catching up, that otherwise is harder to do when you're, running your business. I mean, they've missed the mark on so many levels. And my thing is like, where's the county and where's the state? Because this is something that I feel like some kind of governance needs to come in and be and just kind of tell them, you are going to fix this, and we don't care how it puts a dent into your plans on expansions and how you plan on spending your money. This is going to be done, or else.
You guys remember when Disneyland first opened? Like, well, not that you were literally there, but like the stories of it, how there was that whole story about how the bathrooms were like exploding or something like that. It was like everything went wrong the first day that could go wrong. But you know what? That's
Sunday.
A funny part of history now, because we knew how much they rebound. Like Erica was saying about how his wife wanted the park so clean and all that. They learned, they adapted. I see this and I'm like, that's someone's bonus right there, going literally down the drain in my eyes, because that shows this is a neglected thing that literally cannot go wrong. And we've seen this happen, at least 3 times. So yeah, I completely agree.
I mean, it's
prolonged negligence is the thing for pipes like this to be busting at this magnitude in random places on Disney property. I mean, like, what's next? You got the resorts, you've got Disney Springs. I mean, it's reminded of what Marvin had said. I forgot on which stream, but it was so funny because it was so true. How when you have a running pipe and it's got a hole and you put your finger on the hole and then the water ends up spewing in another part. And I'm like, that's such an accurate depiction of what's happening here at Disney World.
Well,
And it's just should have never happened.
it should not happen. And I have been in communication with somebody who is very closely associated with infrastructure related to piping and water management and so forth here at Walt Disney World, and they were appalled. They were like, I mean, some of the infrastructural work that they've seen has been appalling to them, and they were not surprised that a story like this took place. Now, Nolan, to your point, and Erica, to your point, actually, it is surprising how this isn't more mainstream, because this single tweet that you're seeing on screen right here was the only reporting or evidence that this even took place at all, which is insane. This would have been completely not covered at all, even by outlets like Walt Disney World News Today or Block Mickey, if it had not been for this tweet. And I think they still didn't cover this specific issue. So I think there's a wide ranging. I think the scope of the infrastructural problems are outside of our cognitive realm at this point, because so much stuff just doesn't really get covered at all or get coverage at all. And yeah, I think it is incumbent on SIFTOD specifically to go in and say, hey, look, listen, how what does the infrastructural status look like at Walt Disney World Resort, and how many resources should really be dedicated in order to improving it? I think there's a lot there. They could have done a lot of work during the shutdown and everything. Walt Disney World less so, because it was only down for like a month, let's say. But Disneyland, I mean, that was down for 412 days. And apparently they let a lot of infrastructure atrophy in that time period. A lot of things were very neglected in the time period that park was down. Trees may have been impacted by that, which is why we're seeing so many tree removals at that resort, which is really disheartening. But I don't know, something's got to change here, because this is madness. Again, these are quoted by the company as being premium experiences. Well, there's nothing premium about what we're seeing from sewage at Walt Disney World. But to keep on the Epcot train for just a little bit, I know, Bob, I know we weren't going to be like, hey, gotta get out of here.
Oh, no, we're good.
I understand.
We're good.
Don't worry. I got you. To keep on the Epcot train, though, that wasn't the only Epcot story. Oh, the lights. It's fascinating how many times we have talked about the lights in this one area here at the entrance of Epcot, but we have to, because I think these stories very much matter. If people aren't familiar, the company embarked on a $1 billion plus reimagining of the entrance of Epcot, specifically transforming it from Future World to now 3 distinct neighborhoods, those being World Discovery, World Nature, and World Celebration. World Celebration is the entrance that you're seeing on screen right here, the World Celebration Gardens, and they took out the Fountain of Nations that was in this specific spot right here, replaced it with a very questionable shaped planter, and surrounded it with these lights that were embedded in the ground. And to be honest, these lights were actually pretty impressive when they made their debut. Let me see here if I have any video to show you. Yes, this is from Blog Mickey's YouTube channel. Don't mind the one LED that's out there in the... oh, okay, well, we're going to get a commercial anyway. Okay, well, that's just fantastic. Anyway, the lights were meant to be... to synchronize with Spaceship Earth just beyond that. And it was actually a pretty impressive effect. Well, and let's see. Yep. You can see right here on screen what this is supposed to look like. Pretty good stuff right there. Also, too, those pillars, those light pillars, those would also be synchronized to Spaceship Earth. So it was actually quite impressive. Well, very, very quickly, these started to break and started to either not be synchronized with Spaceship Earth or turning off completely, because... allegedly, the pressure washing that would occur in this area at night, every single night, which is pretty standard practice for all Disney theme parks. Usually, the maintenance technicians will actually use a high volume of water in order to pressure wash and clean these surfaces, and specifically the hardscaping in these parks in order to keep them clean. Well, apparently that got to them, and that may have, rendered them disabled, which is not great. It took about a year, but finally, after making their debut December of 2023, in the winter and fall of 2024, we started to see the company actually get to these and start to make what we thought were fixes. You can kind of see right here a little bit of that. They look to be thicker lights embedded in the ground, and it did appear, at least initially, that they were back to their former glory, as this Blog Mickey article actually says right here, which is great. But that didn't last long. Unfortunately, within a week of their installation, they started to not illuminate properly. You can actually see this post right here from a Showcase of Wishes. This is December 16th, 2024. This is, like I said, about a week after this specific article that you're seeing on screen. You can see the LEDs not quite looking right, not quite synchronizing properly with everything. And you can see right here, not only are you not having LEDs illuminate properly, but you're actually seeing a tripping hazard from these. So this is...
Oh,
That's not great.
up in the Vash.
So, yeah, anytime you have...
We tripped Vash right out of the stream.
Yeah, the Disney ninjas got him.
Rock, scissors.
So in the meantime, I guess I'll keep going here. Yeah, that's a tripping hazard. And the last thing I want to see is Granny falling on a bunch of neon lights. I mean, it'd be kind of sick, but also not sick when she gets the hip replacement. So we don't want that at all. And, I can give some credit to theme park companies, when they have they buy, say, a test version or demo version of a brand new roller coaster. It's the first model, so it's there to demonstrate to the investors and the buyers and stuff. Because it's a cool concept, they want to buy into it and maybe get it at a little bit cheaper price. That I'm fine with. What's not cool is Disney's been around for how long? They should know what kind of LED lights to use. And from everything I've heard, it seems like they weren't chasing after this for the sake of an experimental light to theme with the ride in Spaceship Earth. No, it seems like they just picked this because of negligence and not focusing where the budget should be, which is kind of sad. But Vash, continue.
Oh, yeah, I was actually going to throw it to you guys right then, and then the everything cut out right there. So Nolan, thank you so much for taking my place right here. Bob, what is your reaction to all of this? I mean, I think Nolan's point is correct. Sometimes Disney will experiment with new technologies, new systems, and so forth, new way of doing things. Hey, it was supposed to be Future World, right? It was supposed to be an experimental prototype community of tomorrow, and in that vein, they did experiment. Unfortunately, they just can't seem to get it right, even a year after opening this area. Your thoughts on all this?
Mm-hmm. Well, once they found out that the pressure washing and everything was not working, you would have thought that they would have gone back to the drawing board and said, okay, well, we need to come up with something that's not going to affect the lights, and the lights are going to be able to work and continue on and whatnot. And I totally understand, it's experimental, park, and they're trying new things. And I think it's great that they're doing that. But seriously, I would have thought that, they would fix it, and then we wouldn't have any major issues for a while. To see that they're having issues, and to me, the issues are even worse than what they were before, the way they're working. And it's just sad. And I'm not going to rip Disney total. I mean, again, it's experimental, but something like lights, you would think that lights would be a little bit easier to work with. It's not like a huge, complicated ride. However, it is syncing with Spaceship Earth, and it's some new technology. So I'm going to give them a little, props there. But when you have tripping hazards like this, that's serious issues. You have an employee or a guest go down, and you'll definitely have OSHA on your hands and some issues. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to fix this. But at the same time, the way that things are going, it's taken this long to try to fix them in the first place, and within a week they're having more issues. It's just like, I think the thing that frustrates me the most about this is that and this is the common topic that we keep talking about, on our shows here, is that, Disney keeps trying to do, new and different things, or they're trying to come out with some, a new Haunted Mansion shop, or the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure, or, lights at Epcot. But everything is just not done properly or the right way. And I just feel like, in the past, Imagineers or the Disney company would have made sure, hey, this is, we are going to test this and we're going to make sure it's ready to go before we open it. Instead of, hey, things aren't working, but we're just going to go ahead and open up right now. And animatronics aren't working, but that's okay. Ride keeps breaking down. It's like,
right. Good enough seems to be the mantra of the day. And that's so disappointing because if it wasn't absolutely spectacular, at least in days past in Disney's history, it wouldn't be good enough. Erica, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, just as engineers, there's everything's convoluted in my head. Where are they not doing their simulations properly before doing this? Do they not have areas where they create prototypes? I mean, they have this massive land, and there are areas they could, create prototypes. They have engineers with simulation degrees. I know one personally. That there's just no excuse for this, for these fails. But I'm thinking this is part of the issue is they are being so reactive to Epic Universe with the arrival. Everything's just hurry, hurry, hurry. And they're being lazy and everything is being so rushed that they're not putting the quality and time that it deserves. Instead of just, we're not going to worry about this. We're going to let Universal have their moment. We're going to let them have, let them shine. And we're going to take our time. And in the coming years, we'll get there. Yeah, we got lazy, and we shouldn't have. Lesson learned. But now we're going to kind of pull back. We're going to take our time and we're going to do some really big things. But we're not going to be in such a rush because we want to do it right. And when it does come to fruition, it's going to kick Universal's rear end. But they're not thinking like that. They're thinking like kids, like teenagers, where everything is just an emotional reaction. And those are like the worst times that we typically make decisions as humans, and this is the consequence of it, and add the fact that they are the most expensive theme park and resort to vacation at in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what my money, this is where my money is going to, even as a Floridian, as an annual pass holder, as being able to double dip between military discounts and even with the discounts, it's still expensive. I'm not exempt from having to pay the food costs and the merchandise costs. Not everything is at a discount. It's very selective on what you even get a discount on. So you're still, pardon the expression, but you're paying out the rear end, even when you're trying to cut costs to force to afford, but it doesn't even make you want to do that. It makes you just kind of want to pull back and say, my bad. I'm not going to renew that annual pass because that's just not what. And then where is my money going?
Right.
I'm paying you to provide me a top quality product and you're not keeping it top quality. You're not taking my money and putting it back into your business. So when I keep going back, I'm getting really good results. I'm getting just, oh shit. Like, sorry.
Yeah. Your philosophy is that of a competent leader, someone who can recognize realistic issues and address where they are failing and what they can revamp to get their brand image back in order to compete with that looming threat that's opening literally in less than a year now in only a few months. That is the philosophy that the Disney parks need, and it's just completely gone. Instead of looking at where are we going to be in a decade? It's where am I going to be in 5 years from now? Because we were just talking about the whole sanitation thing earlier with when the shutdowns happened. How much you want to bet half the staff probably isn't even there anymore because of what this company's become as opposed to longevity? And if you had people that's like, this is what my job's going to be 10 years from now, I would like to be in this comfy position, then people would care about what's going to happen now. But how much do you want to bet Josh tomorrow isn't going to be in his position for the next 5 years?
That's a great point.
I'm not going to believe anything until I see it, because at the end of the day, this is corporate America, and somehow, some way, they still are able to keep these idiots around.
Golden parachute.
And they don't go away. They just linger and linger and linger, and it's just like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I guess it's just up to me. Sorry, I slammed my hand on my desk.
So much rage, your camera shut off.
Oh.
So, at the end of the day, I guess it's my money, and if you're not going to fix this, then, I guess I don't have to put my money there, now do I?
No, I agree with you. And look, to Nolan's point, there was a big purge of a lot of the top tier talent, both at Imagineering. I believe Imagineering from 2019 to 2020, 2021, that area, they lost about 90% of the workforce there. That's the number that I heard passed around back then. And that's a huge amount of people that are just gone and didn't actually pass that institutional memory on to the next generation. Also, too, at Disneyland and at Walt Disney World, they lost a huge amount of cast members, longtime seasoned veterans, longtime managers and so forth, leads, because of some policies regarding COVID and, let's say, injections that people had to take or else they were fired. That they lost a lot of the workforce too regarding those policies. So again, I think that explains why we're in this situation. But Erica, your frustrations, I mean, they are mounting, not just amongst our group circles, but also too, I mean, I've heard this from people who we talk about as maybe like pixie dusters, or people who are very much fans of current Disney and what they're doing. Even frustrations are boiling over in their circles as well. A lot of people are keen to pick up on a lot of the stuff that's going on, how intolerable it all is. Bob, I'll go ahead and give you the final word on this story.
I guess, my final question is, did they get these lights from Amazon?
They might have. Yes, that's
maybe that's the problem right there.
Somebody disable Josh Yamaro's Prime account. I think that's what this is the problem.
It's really unfortunate. I really want to see. I really would like to see Disney get back to what they were in the heyday. And again, not that they don't do some good things, they do, but I want, they come out with something new. I want to see, something amazing. I want to see something that wows me, and I want something that is not something you can buy from Amazon or another AI site or whatnot, site on the internet. I don't know. Am I asking for too much, guys? Because I just feel like I love Disney and I love, the history of Disney, especially, Disneyland. But when it comes to all these things, I'm just like, faceplant. Okay, what's going on over here?
You are absolutely justified, because I know Vash was making a joke here about disabling the Prime account, but you guys know the whole point of Amazon Prime is supposed to be that it's the faster service, and yet Disney's pulling all this, and it still takes them like a year and a half to get this stuff out. There's not even the speed perk.
Right.
Oh man, I never thought about that. No, exactly right. Oh, it's all frustrating. And somebody actually had a pretty good commentary here. Yes, thank you so much, Dan's Life at the Kingdom. Necessary downgrade is a new thing for Disney. I would have to very much agree with that assessment right here. But you know what isn't a necessary downgrade? In fact, if you incorporate him in your life, it'll be actually a necessary upgrade. That is Barry Plays 28. What do you got going on over there at your YouTube channel, bud?
Woo! Yep. Unfortunately, I got to take off, guys. But thank you so much for having me on. As always, love being on here every single week. I'm going to be at Disneyland this Sunday, and I hope you guys will come and join me because I hit 5,000 subs on Christmas Day, and we're doing our 5,000 sub celebration on Sunday at Disneyland. So we're going to be doing a bunch of prizes, giveaways, but we're also going to have a great time.
Ooh.
And what's that? What was that? Ooh.
Oh, I was just saying, ooh. I'm just impressed. Like, I remember like the other week you were doing it, and I was thinking of like a dumb joke in my head where I'm like, well, you're giving away prizes, and then you said you're doing prizes. And I'm like, this dude thinks of everything. Like, dang, those are well-earned subs,
so
man.
just so you know, some of the prizes that... What's that?
Are you giving away Haunted Mansion stuff?
Actually, I do. I have a Haunted Mansion Loungefly bag that I'm giving away. I have a Starbucks tumbler. I have 10 Amazon gift cards. I've got some Disney pins.
Don't give those to tomorrow.
And a couple other things. Oh, Amazon gift card? Sure. I could do that. not going to solve our problem, but yeah, so we're going to be celebrating. What's that?
I always need Amazon money.
Well, then, Erica, you should come on my stream on Sunday. Maybe you'll win a gift card. And we're just going to have fun and hang out. It's going to be a great day. I'm hoping to be there for most of the day. I might do a TikTok stream in the morning and then YouTube in the afternoon because YouTube is where I hit the 5,000 subs. But I should be there for most of the day. Also, Dre just had it up, but we have the Park Streamers Hangout. We are going to have a special guest on Monday, and I hope you guys will come hang out with me, Theme Park Casual, in Cordy, California. We're not going to tell anyone who it is, but it's a really special person that has some connections to Disney, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So come hang out with us. It's at 8 p.m. Monday night, this coming Monday night on the Park Streamers Hangout. And you can find us at Park Streamers on YouTube. And then you can always find me on all my social media channels. So you can find me on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And I hope you guys come join me, hang out. And by the way, thank you so much for those of you who have followed me from T3PO to my channels. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you guys in my chat all the time, and I really appreciate all the support. So reply by mail, and I'm going to miss some people here, so my apologies. But you know, we got Jim T sometimes, and Go and Shogi, and Pam Epson, and Juliet, and et cetera, Tom F. Thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate it, guys.
And thank you for supporting our amazing creators here on this channel right here. Bob is just indispensable right now in the Disney community, and definitely in the vlogging space. That's absolutely for sure. Your live streams are just they're amazing, and honestly, we need them more than ever right now because, man, Southern Californians gotta get their minds off of stuff. So definitely tune into Barry Plays 28 and the Park Streamers Hangout as well. Thank you, sir. Right.
Well, VashSky, Nolan, and Erica, good night. Have a good one.
What time is your live
stream on Sunday? What's that?
What time is your live stream on Sunday? I'm putting it in my Google Calendar.
That's right, because you're in another country. You know, I haven't set a time yet.
Does it notify me of a lot of stuff? So if I put it in my Google, yeah.
Okay. I'll send you a message as soon as I get it set up.
Okay.
I might be there at Rope Drop, but I'm not sure. So I'll send you a message and let you know for sure since you're not getting those notifications. And by the way, everyone who's in the chat, and if you're close to the fires, you know, please stay safe. Please, you know, reach out to family and friends if you need help. And more importantly, I hope I'll keep you guys in my thoughts and prayers, and be safe out there.
Thank you, Bob. Everyone. Thank you, sir. And Erica, I'll make sure that we get those times over to you and over to as much of our audience as possible. Been promoting Barry Plays 28 and Park Streamers Hangout over at my Twitter account as well. So if you're already following me, you should be notified. But please go ahead and seek out Barry Plays 28. He's on Twitter, he's on Instagram, he's on TikTok, he's on any place you could possibly have an account. So seek him out. That's for sure. I want to go ahead and thank Dan's Life at the Kingdom again for the super chat right here with the 199. Necessary downgrade is a new thing for Disney. We featured that before, but I just want to make sure that we thank you properly. So thank you, and going Shogi with the is it $9.99? Oh, That's awesome. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. It's got a super sticker with a hippo and the KO. I love that. Thank you so much, Go and Shogi, for this. Very much appreciated. Man, all the support.
Go and Shogi is always at, it seems like every time is always at the Toonie Talk TV streams that's after the show and stuff like that. So every time I see Go and Shogi, I'm like, yeah, there's a brother at that.
Yes. And speaking of those streams, you will be redirected to Toontown TV following this show over
and
to.
I'm going to bed after that.
Yeah, Erica.
I know. I'm like, why is it so late?
Is it 12:30 where you're at right now?
Yeah. Oh, when Marvin starts his streams, it's like 2 a.m., 2:30 in the morning here. Yeah, and it's like I've
More
got
in
to
the
get
morning party
sleep.
at Toonie Town. Let's go.
It's not. that's a little much right there. That's for sure. But hey, you know what, Erica? You can always catch the restream.
Yeah, the replays. Yeah, I watched snippets of it, so I am kept in the loop.
Fantastic. Well, Go and Shogi, thank you so much for that. I want to go ahead and feature this as well here. Soaring over, Pooh, Vash, nice work, pal. Yeah, that's the nice work, pal. That's from that amazing Epcot attraction.
Right, you have to say it with the voice.
Yes, exactly.
You see,
And of
Vash
course,
has,
these little beauties.
you see, Vash has a classy establishment around here. He tries to avoid those kind of things, unlike Disney. Disney doesn't.
That's right. Let's see here.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
That's right. Thank you so much from the Country Bear Jamboree on that one. Fantastic stuff. And thank you so much for everybody for keeping the chat as crappy as it can be. No, I'm joking. There was a lot of poop emojis in there. Okay, here we go. Moving on to our next topic right here. I have a question for all of you, both in the chat and on the panel.
I didn't do
Disney... You haven't even heard my question yet. Has Disney lost relevance? Here we go from that park place. Disney puts Rey lightsabers on clearance at Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars fails to enter streaming chart for weeks. This is by Marvin Martinero, January 8th, 2025. The hits keep coming for Disney's Star Wars under the leadership of Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy. Not in a good way. Two recent developments highlighting a growing apathy among fans towards the once beloved franchise, the heavily discounted Rey Legacy lightsaber at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and the continued failure of Skeleton Crew to make a mark on the streaming charts. A recent report from Blog Mickey revealed that the Rey Legacy lightsaber at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has been slashed to nearly half its price, a $160 collectible now available for $99. To offer what should be a major product at such a steep discount suggests poor sales and waning interest in merchandise tied to the character of Rey, portrayed by Daisy Ridley. Once positioned as a cornerstone of Disney's sequel trilogy, Rey's appeal has seemingly dimmed amongst audiences. This I find very, very, crazy, because to have a lightsaber at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, this is not Cast Connections, this is not some third-party retailer or I don't know, people selling things after the fact. This is not like remember they used to have the Disney outlet stores in some places where you can buy this kind of merchandise. It's not located in any of those places. This is located on property in one of your signature lands for both Disney Hollywood Studios and Disneyland, that being Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, something that they spent $1 billion to build, and you're selling discounted merch to the point of 40% off in this case. This was really, really alarming. And remember, this comes on the back of an article from the Hollywood Reporter saying that there's a back and forth between some of the creators at Lucasfilm regarding Daisy Ridley's Rey and wanting to feature her in their stories. I believe it was Simon Kinberg, if I'm not mistaken, and then Charmin Obaid-Chinoy battling amongst themselves for what has been described as the most valuable cinematic asset, is what they described Rey as. Yes, here you go. That's the quote. She is the most valuable cinematic asset, in some ways maybe the only one Star Wars has right now. And yet her signature lightsaber, well, it's being sold at a discount. Guys, your thoughts on all of this?
Okay, so when I
don't
first
know
heard about
anybody
this,
who values Rey. Who are they at? Who According to, because anybody I know is like, and I'm talking Gen Z, my son's friends, and to quote one of them, "Oh, she sucks."
Oh man.
Well, the key
Erica,
word there is
Yeah.
value. And if you want to know the most valuable part of Ray, apparently it's having the prices slashed in half because I guess that's her value. But when to talk more about this lightsaber, when I first heard this story, it wasn't one that really like had a light bulb for me because I was like, okay, it's probably one of those cheap lightsabers, you give to your kids and stuff like that. It's like they overproduce them. It's not that popular of a movie, whatever. But an actual like replica prop, that's just insane to me. Cause like even if you don't like Rey the character, this is still a beautiful art piece right here. It's a fascinating lightsaber. It's so cool. I remember when me and my mother went to Disney Springs last year around September or so. We went into the yes, Vash, that point right there. Power of the dark side, baby. But no, we went to the Star Wars store that was in Disney Springs, and they had all these display lightsabers out. You saw like Anakin's, they had Darth Maul's, they had Rey's, and I just remember even the sequel lightsabers were just so captivating. I can only imagine how amazing it must have looked to all the little kids in there and such. And the fact that it's still struggling to sell just says so much. And I think an even deeper spot to kind of expand, from what we're talking here, that Star Wars store we went to in the first place, correct me if I'm wrong here, Vash, I don't even think that's there no more. I think they've shut that down for something else.
So there's a Star Wars store at Disney Springs that did get shut down, and I think that featured a lot of Galaxy's Edge specific merchandise. I believe there is another Star Wars store in Disney Springs that sells a lot more generic merchandise. I think that's still there. I believe the one at Downtown Disney at Disneyland is still there. I'm trying to see what other stores currently exist right now on Disney property. I think Tomorrowland, Disneyland still has a couple of Star Wars things that they sell. Obviously, the stores in Galaxy's Edge, and then I believe the exit gift shop of Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Star Tours also has a bunch of stuff. But that's kind of it. To your point, Nolan. I mean, they really have scaled back a lot of their merchandising and consumer product shelf space, let's say, that they would dedicate to Star Wars. It really is something. Also, too, remember, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was supposed to come to Disneyland Paris in their Disney Adventure World Park, which still a horrible name, but that's the studios part adjacent to Disneyland Paris Park proper. Well, that was replaced with a Lion King flume ride. That whole plot of land. Again, they said that they were going to bring a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I believe, starting in 2016, 2017. And only very recently did they actually say, oh yeah, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge isn't coming. Instead, it's going to be Lion King. It really just goes to show you, as you were pointing out there, Nolan, just the lack of consumer interest for what was the Star Wars was the brand to brands. I mean, the first movie was so successful, as Lou points out, that during its initial run in 1977, it paid for basically the year's worth of operating costs for Fox that year. Essentially, if Fox did anything, it was basically paid for in advance. That's how successful the original Star Wars was. And again, a lot of the merchandising rights going over to George Lucas specifically was what funded not only the creation or establishment of Lucasfilm, but also to the subsequent films in the series, that being Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, and really made Lucasfilm the powerhouse that it was in creating content. So to take this established brand and to bring it down to the level where even your biggest new cinematic asset, that being Rey, isn't even moving merch on her own, really, really disturbing. Erica, do you have any anticipation for the future stories coming out of Lucasfilm supposedly featuring Rey?
Absolutely not. I mean, they can create it all they want and put it out there, but that doesn't mean it's gonna make money. It doesn't mean it's gonna draw in the audience and consumers that they want. You know, I don't know many kids, and I mean, like, kids, we're talking, like, Gen Alpha, that are even really familiar with a lot of Star Wars. Disney has not done anything to keep the adult audience, you know, how to word it in my head better than this? Um, they haven't done anything to keep the adult audience, interested in Star Wars, therefore leaving the adults to not pass anything down to their kids or their grandkids. So it's really no mystery why, you know, merch like this isn't popular and it's not selling. And then there's the other part of this where, are kids even really playing with toys anymore, at this scale?
That's a good
Where
point.
even collectibles, where they even want and desire physical collectibles. Like when I was growing up, we loved Barbie dolls. Not only were we gifted a lot of Barbie dolls to play with, but in addition to that, we also had collector Barbie dolls that we loved to collect, even the Disney ones, like the holiday ones. And there's just you're not seeing that. I have nieces and nephews that are Gen Alpha, and I gotta tell you, this is not on their radar, and it's not even on my sisters and my brother-in-laws on even their radar to have passed down a lot of this Star Wars stuff. And for one of them in particular, um, they do like their droids that they built at Galaxy's Edge, but that's it. That is like the extent of one niece and one nephew of mine that um, has enjoyed the Star Wars stuff. Other than that, they're not really into it. They're really on screens or on their devices, and when it comes to like actual playing with toys, they actually like building stuff. So it's like Legos. They're really into um and like Toy Soldier. It's kind of anyway. They're into weird stuff. They're actually more into the universal things. They're really heavy into Pokemon, and the other one's really heavy into How to Train Your Dragon. And then the eldest is really into anime. That is where they're at. That's two nieces and one nephew. Um,
That's
and I'm
interesting.
kind of seeing I'm seeing the same pattern in a lot of my other friends, and their kids. I'm not seeing Star Wars really being passed down. So Disney is very much out of touch, but they haven't done anything with the IP either to keep the interest in the adults. So anything can be passed down,
You hit the nail
So
right on the head, Erica, because you were just talking about, the youngest generation not playing with toys. You think about it, you go to Walmart or something like that. You ever notice how almost all the brands you see, that are like series driven lines and stuff, not just like, balls or bicycles or anything like that. They're all like Star Wars, Transformers. You mentioned Barbie there. These brands are like what, 30-something-year-old brands now, and yet they have completely failed to garner new interest from newer brands that kids want to play toys of, because we have awful Star Wars movies no one wants to buy stuff from. Transformers, those films are all over the place. You have to where all your IP is based off stuff that the parents grew up with. And then you go to like modern day cartoons and stuff, and they were nowhere near as marketable. A lot of them only lasted like 2 seasons. A lot of them chased more, let's just say, trends of the modern day than actually something that would be marketable and
Mhm.
fun to kids. And as a result, you'll see the toy market completely implode. And some of the few toy sales I've seen that actually did catch on were like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is based on a video game. Five Nights at Freddy's toys, which are based on a video game. I think it speaks volumes that Disney has completely failed to capture the hearts and minds of those young audience that want to use imagination, because I can't blame them for wanting to go to the internet or video games for more escape, or heck, you mentioned anime, because just many of these Western brands are just so damaged and, I'll be real with you, boring.
And
Anime's
to add to
huge.
that, one thing I did pick up on, one of my other nieces when I was, home visiting last year.
Mhm.
I noticed that her and her sister have, they got, they got the Switch. No, it was on the computer, sorry, because they had their own laptops. They had, I don't know what game it was or what it was, or if it was like an app that they were playing with, but it had an avatar, and it was a really cutesy, girl, and they could literally dress this digital avatar, and they were dressing her, doing her hair and her makeup, and I was sitting there and I'm like, this is really interesting because, when I was growing up, we did that with actual physical dolls. And now
Yes.
I'm seeing now, kids nowadays are essentially playing with figurines in an avatar form on a screen. Um, and then they were obsessed with that, Princess Peach Nintendo, game that had come out, and it was like
Showtime.
I mean, it was cute. Yeah, it had, like, little cakes, like, she was decorating cakes and, I mean, one of my nieces was just obsessed. She just absolutely loved. I mean, she was on that thing, like, all day, um, for hours on end, and, that's just kind of where they're at. They're in the video game space, or they're interacting with IPs that are very much video game related. Now, on the
Yeah.
one side of the family, they're Mario obsessed. Everything's Mario. On the other side of the family, they're really into Minecraft. They're just
Mm.
obsessed with Minecraft. And we're talking these are little kids. They're still in elementary school. They haven't even reached middle school yet. Um, and then the middle school ones, yeah, they're kind of there, and the high school one is just all up into anime. She's just like, that tunnel vision, anime, anime, anime. She's
They
actually
grow up
teaching herself
into
Japanese right now.
they're more into anime, it seems like, the older they get. It's kind of like the next step in a way. And I'm so happy you brought up Minecraft too, because like, a lot of people, get concerned about, like iPad kids and, parenting. Like that is definitely something that needs to be, parents need to take accountability for, is like, make sure your kids don't get addicted to the electronics. But we can
Mhm.
definitely see that imagination in kids has definitely not gone away, because you can see that with, for better or worse, with like, products like Roblox. They're building their own
Yeah.
games. You brought up Minecraft. They're building their own worlds. It shows just
My
how
sons were obsessed with that when they were growing up, and one's 25 and the other one's 21. In fact, one of them in the game built a church for, quote, "me." They're like, "Look, mommy, I made a church." They did an altar. They had, I mean, very detailed. And then he also built a rosary on another, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh." I didn't realize the kid was even paying attention to anything religious, honestly. I thought it was just like, he didn't care. Um, but I mean, yeah, and then the other one was, built like a house, and it had all these, like, booby traps in it, and it was
it
really
shows
funny.
imagination, and it just shows how out of touch Disney is from the philosophy of an actual child, because kids are still creative. They come up with these amazing elaborate things you'd never think they would know about. And yet the whole Star Wars sequel trilogy they made, and this really goes for most brands out there right now, it really is the mentality of how do you do fellow kids, because you look at those movies, they're devoid of any imagination. They're basically remakes of the older movies to begin with. And I think that's where Disney's failing here, is like, there's money to be made, there's toys to sell, and there's especially video games to be sold. And they've completely botched it in almost every way. They shut down their video games division, and now all of a sudden they want to get back into video games. It makes no sense.
The video that you're seeing on screen
Yeah.
right now is the retail corridor that they included in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, with the hope of selling one of the 300 plus individual new SKUs or pieces of consumer product that they had developed and brought to market with the launch of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So actually, Bob Chapek cited this specific fusion of consumer products and Imagineering as to one of the reasons why the experiences division was merged with consumer products, and now, now it was what is it? Disney experiences and consumer products. Now it's just Disney experiences. But yeah, 300 new products to sell. A lot of those very niche and deep within the Star Wars universe. And for what? For a diminishing appetite for Star Wars product in general. Like you said, Erica, a lot of people, a lot of kids aren't necessarily playing with toys. And if they are, they're not necessarily, playing with Star Wars toys. It is so fascinating because, they're moving on to maybe like Marvel, at least they did for a little bit. Now they're obviously moving to video games. They're moving to all these different things. Anime, for sure, that is just exploded in popularity. I remember, anime incorporating at least a little bit of my life back in. Remember the Tsunami days, Nolan? Do you remember those?
Yes,
Cartoon Network. Yes.
Back in the
Some
days, we
Adult
used to
Swim
get
stuff.
beat up for like an anime, the good old days, quote unquote.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
nerd and yeah.
Oh man,
Now it's becoming far more ubiquitous than it ever has. Like the chat has been
And now
pointing
it's
out there.
mainstream. Now it's the hip thing.
Yes,
Being a nerd is cool now.
absolutely. It's so crazy. I remember
it's wonderful. Go ahead.
This lightsaber. I think Tom F was talking about it and what hilt this actually is. Let me see if
Oh wow.
I don't want to
Ooh, it's a Kylo.
Yeah, it's a Kylo one, and the reason why it's a Kylo one is because this was actually before The Force Awakens was actually released. It's when I actually got that saber. When people were highly anticipating that release, I think the film came out in December. I stood outside like a Target waiting for the initial the initial launch of all the consumer product associated with that film back in October. And that's when I got that lightsaber right there. I know, weird, but hey, did it because I was so excited, right?
It's a part of the fun. You go to a movie and you buy all this stuff because you go to have fun. I went to see the re-release thing of Phantom Menace here a while back, and I came in with a lightsaber, and these guys who I'm pretty sure were stoned were like really excited when they saw the lightsaber in the theater. Like everyone was like, thought it was so cool. And it's a part of immersion. And I look at that video you're playing there of Galaxy's Edge, and I have to ask, who is this for? Because like you have to know your audience. And if the Rey lightsaber is literally getting slashed in price, then what does that speak for this? Meanwhile, you have the people behind Legoland. I actually did a story about this on that Park Place here a few weeks ago. They are investing in doing a Minecraft theme park thing. I think it's going to be smaller scale, but they're going to have like a roller coaster. They're going to be able to interact with like, I believe, villagers and probably get your own little diamond swords. It's going to be super cool. And yet you see Disney and they're not even stuck in the past, which there's still a market for. They are stuck in a bubble that no one else wants to play in. And I'm not going to say there's not fans of the sequel trilogy, but the reality is, last time I went to Galaxy's Edge, it was very empty, and there has to be a reason
Playing
behind
in the wrong
that.
sandbox.
Yes, it is the wrong sandbox, and we'll go over it a little bit more in the show. But one of the best things that Disney has ever done with the Star Wars franchise, especially in the parks, is what you're seeing on screen right now. This is Fire of the Rising Moons at Disneyland. Yes.
Oh, wow.
This is
That's really pretty.
Right. So what you're seeing right now are the fireworks that usually take place over Disneyland on select nights when they actually are having pyro. And what they've done is really clever. And what I've been asking for years. They have synced music playing within this land to the fireworks above. So the fireworks, if you see them from any other location in Disneyland, you'll see like you'll hear the normal loop. But Fire of the Rising Moons is different. They play a separate audio track in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that aligns with these fireworks as well. And it is awesome.
That's
it is
cool.
it's like getting two shows out at once. It's friggin' spectacular. But it's super cool, very well done. They play the Star Wars music that you know and love from yes, the sequel trilogy, it starts out a little bit there, but it goes right into the original very, very quickly. You get a little prequel trilogy in there. It is awesome. It's so good. And it's like, Disney, this is what people want right here. Could we play some music regularly in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Could we feature more of the original trilogy in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Please, go ahead, Erica.
I mean, if they could just clean up Star Wars, give their fans what they want in terms of story and characters, the merch will sell, but they've got to really listen to their audience instead of being tone deaf to their audience. And I mean, look, it's still a big IP regardless. It's been around for years. People know what Star Wars is. They may not know it in terms of to what degree. I'm not what you call big into the lore. I couldn't even tell you what the canon is really, but but everybody knows the name. And they could turn it around. It could still make money, but it's up to them. They have to be the ones to be intentional and want to make the change, and they just refuse to. So, you know what? I don't feel sorry for you. You want to keep shooting yourself in the foot like that, financially, be my guest, but don't cry me a dang river. I don't care until you turn the ship around. You can't be complaining and whining and crying because you're not making money. That's your own dang fault.
Speaking of not caring, I'm sorry, I have to complain about this. This crowd here is so disappointing. Like, put your lightsabers in the air, please. Like, make like a spectacle. I want this to look like a 90s VHS tape that's advertising Disney World. I see like 3 guys kind of with their sabers are just kind of like, lame. I'm sorry, I had to complain about it. Continue.
In the start of the show, they do have everybody kind of raise their sabers, and it is kind of a cool moment if you do happen to have a crowd with sabers. I think they want them to keep them down for the show though, so they can take in the ambiance of the fireworks and so forth. So that is pretty good, and we'll cover more Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and what they could do to improve this area just a little bit later. And yeah, the relevancy of Star Wars really is a conundrum, that is for sure. But what isn't a conundrum? Theme Park Wizard, hey, what's going on?
Well.
Ready to come on.
Oh wow! What a quick entry point. Hello.
Sorry about that. I do apologize. I don't mean to do that to you. But we were just talking about a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, what they can do to improve it, a little bit of retail. Very interesting stories. But I know there are some interesting stories involving a myriad of IP, anime included too, Erica, in this Universal FanFest nights. Oh yes, we're going to get to it in just a moment. Before we do, let's go ahead and get some super chats on the screen right here. This is from Calhoun, I believe. That market looks like markets in Baghdad. Not even kidding. Immersion destroying for most folks. They took inspiration from like the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot. I know that was a big influence, and it's supposed to look like the outskirts of the galaxy, and people are kind of getting along by selling their wares and everything like that. It does look maybe a bit too post-apocalyptic. So, maybe could have stand to improve on that. I think it's very detailed and nice, but yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea. That is for sure. But thank you so much for the $5, Calhoun. Very much appreciate it. Very much so. All right. Now, if I can just get my screens back, because for some reason I keep getting kicked out of my own stream. Not sure why.
That's terrible.
I apologize for that.
Or just StreamYard?
I think it's my browser. So my browser keeps shutting down for some reason. Not sure why. So I do apologize about the technical issues, folks. Just getting that worked out on my end. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and get to this. Universal FanFest nights. I think this is the coolest thing ever. This is so cool. So
I forgot about these.
So imagine the Halloween Horror Nights, but involving a myriad of different franchises and not horror based. It's kind of what they're going for Universal FanFest.
That's so much more fun.
I know. It's super cool.
That's
and
scary.
It's awesome. Yes, and not scary. And it's just incorporating fans and what they want to see from their favorite franchises. So, which franchises are featured? Well, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, anime like One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen, I believe, Harry Potter, Star Trek, and Back to the Future. Super cool stuff. I know we found out that you will be actually on board the set of the Enterprise for the Star Trek side of things. I guess they have recreated the set from Picard, so that's super cool. So kind of a next generation theme right there. Like I said before, anime franchises like One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen will be featured in some way or form. We're not quite clear on what might be featured from those franchises, but certainly meet and greets with characters and so forth. We're doing stuff with Harry Potter, as you can see on the screen right there. But what just recently came down is some of the casting choices associated with the Back to the Future themed experience that will be featured at Universal FanFest nights. You can see right there, they put out the casting call for Biff Tannen, Marty McFly, Lorraine McFly, the Clock Tower Lady, female character, Principal Strickland, Goldie Wilson, the mayor, a male character, not sure, George McFly, and of course, Dr. Emmett Brown. And apparently, you will be boarding the studio tour and be dropped off in Courthouse Square. Yes, you'll be dropped off in Courthouse Square with a 1950s representation of Hill Valley, like you saw in the original 1985 film. And these characters will be among them. Wizard, do we have any more detail that I haven't gotten to yet?
Let's see. I think you nailed it with the Back to the Future stuff. There's officially started construction this week. Either the Star Trek or the Dungeons and Dragons section started construction in the soundstage where the weekend Halloween Horror Nights house was. It's behind Transformers, and that there is gonna be whatever it was. They're starting construction on a walkthrough experience, so like a Halloween Horror Nights house type of thing. Yeah, Soundtrack's 15 there, and for
Big
probably
15.
either Star Trek or Dungeons and Dragons walkthrough experience will be right over in that location. And yeah, construction started, but yeah, you nailed everything else on the head, Doctor.
Oh, it's so cool.
When did these start?
This is awesome.
It starts April 25th.
And what's the frequency of these? Or how long is this going to go on for?
Oh, April 25th through May 18th.
That's it. Are they going to keep coming back every year?
Oh yeah, well, and it'll probably expand. That's like an inaugural thing.
Okay.
Dates of April 25th, 26th, 27th, May 2nd, 3rd, and 9th, 10th, 11th, and 16th, 17th, 18th. There's only so many nights, like you would with a Halloween Horror Nights, extra hours activity. But what will be featured, it looks super cool. This stuff looks awesome. I'm hearing rumblings of some really good stuff from our sources, Wizard and I's, mostly Wizard, of what they might actually feature there. It looks super cool. Like I said, though, Courthouse Square being where the original film back in 1985 was filmed, this is the actual Hill Valley. That is the actual clock tower that you have featured in that famous movie right there. It's super cool that they're going to do stuff right here. I mean, it's been a dream of mine since I was like a little kid to walk this area. You can see this is from the studio tour of the DeLorean that they had on display during the 60th celebration of the studio tour. It has been, I mean, it's just a dream to walk this area, and now guests from all over will be able to do just that here at Courthouse Square at Universal Studios Hollywood. Super cool. Erica, come on, you gotta be excited.
You gotta be pumped.
Okay, so I'm disappointed, and I'll tell you why.
No,
because there's no way we can afford to come in this year for this. And I'm just like, I want to cry because I want to go so bad.
Oh no. Yeah, I know Jay from T3PO, he was saying, he's like, oh man, I wish this was happening at any other time where I could actually see it, because a lot of people are looking forward to this, I think.
I mean, like if we were
Mhm.
stateside, just a hands down, this would be Ralph's birthday gift from me to him, because
Oh.
he is such a, and I mean, huge Back to the Future fan. I mean, I don't think you guys even know he's just crazy about Back to the Future.
Does he own
And
like the fancy Pepsi bottle thing?
no, we don't have a lot of collectible stuff. Just again, finances.
Sure.
We're
Understandable.
kind of minimalist
Understandable.
in a lot of ways. I have a
Just
few
spent too
things here
much
and there
money
from
at the
Disney,
cake
but
bake
very
shop. I
little.
understand.
But I would love to take him, and gosh, and it's just this year, I'm like, dang it. There's just no way. And then the flight is just so long from here to California that,
Yeah, it's a long one.
I can't. I mean, we flew from Florida to Japan, and I will never do that again, not in that fashion.
Erica, you speak my language, because I'm like, what the heck is with these cool theme park companies coming out with awesome things in this economy? Like, stop it. Stop doing that. Like, wait a few years and then release the cool thing. Give me a chance here, brother.
I announced it a little bit further out so we could plan ahead. It was just like brought on so quickly. Where with Epic Universe, we at least had a couple of years, or
Sure.
actually more than a few years to, plan and prep for it. And gosh, when it comes to Back to the Future, I got to be honest with you guys, Raph would hands down would rather go to that than Epic Universe. That's how big of a Back to the Future fan he is.
Oh
And
man.
That's pretty amazing,
it
though.
breaks my
Like,
heart because I really
It's-
want to take him so bad, but we can't swing it this year. That's just too soon from January to I would have to book now.
Yeah.
And we just don't have it right now. Raph doesn't even have the vacation time. And then we just don't have the money to be booking like that. I mean, airline, hotel, car rental, then food. And then the flight's just exhausting, the jet lag, and you got to factor that in when you're traveling.
Well, you can prepare to come next year when it'll be bigger and better than ever.
Please bring back.
They'll tweak all the things that went wrong the first year, and then the second year will be better. I really hope it's a huge success and they bring it back, because if it fails and they don't bring it back, it's just going to be that, well, dang it, the attraction out of Florida. Not that we really liked it because we both got sick on it. But bring something that's Back to the Future for us.
Yes.
What you're saying is, Erica, is that Raph is going to get a DeLorean if you missed it, and you guys are going to go back in time to make sure you get to do it, right?
Yes, they're going to go back to the future.
Gonna go back to the future.
I wish it were that simple, right?
They
do have a DeLorean. Oh my gosh, what do you call it? A collectible thing here at the BX of a comic book store, and that thing is 2,699 euros for that thing.
Oh man!
Oh man, that's a lot.
Every time we walk by it, I'm like,
worth it.
How much in USD is that?
Keep walking. I'm like, you want that, and he's like, yeah, I don't want it that bad.
That'd be so awesome. Nolan, come on, you gotta be excited for this. You got Back to the Future in Courthouse Square with your favorite characters from the 1985 film. You got Star Trek from Picard. You've got Dungeons and Dragons. Come on, you gotta be excited.
And keep in mind, this is no offense to anyone in the chat. I know people, the good people, they love D&D. Erica, I know you and your husband. Back to the Future is like all that for you, and I love and admire that y'all appreciate those things. But move aside, Star Trek The Next Generation is the greatest one of the greatest television shows ever made on this planet. And this bridge, this is home. This is what home looks like. And I literally want to fall asleep on that thing and spend like a sleepover night and host a party on this bridge. Me and my dad connected so much. My whole family connects on this. My mother, this is our show. And to see them doing this needs to come back, because this literally makes me want to bring a tear to my eye. I love this so much.
See, look at that, the passion. It is fantastic. I love it. No, Next Generation was great. I mean, that was a really good show. This no, it's not gonna lie. Now, between the two, I'm gonna be in Courthouse Square. When this breaks off. So hopefully
I thought you were about to say like
As
you're gonna
am
pick
I.
original series or something like that, or God forbid Voyager. So you're good. You're off the hook. You're good.
Oh yeah. Well, no. I love Next
I
Generation.
did not know
I think
you were
it's
such
great.
a big Star Trek fan. Wow, my dad is. But he's
Wise
so old
man.
now. He's
Wise
like,
man.
Now,
yeah,
Wizard
but he's at that age where he's like, he just doesn't care about anything anymore. He's like, whatever.
That was there was supposed to be some casting for Star Trek specifically, right?
Shut up.
Oh.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Hold on.
He's in Southern California right now.
On my phone, so there's a new fire that popped out a little bit from my area. So there's like these evacuation things, but it's not from my area. But my grandpa got evacuated, so I'm constantly checking because he just called me. So sorry if I go out. That's why, because he's
No,
calling.
you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it,
Completely
Wizard.
justified.
Please.
Stay safe, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe there might have been a casting call for specific Star Trek characters as well. I don't.
Oh,
Um,
Nolan's about to.
Yeah, he's about to freak out.
About to fly out of
Already
his chair.
Galaxy's Edge. It actually has meet and greet characters for once.
Right, exactly. The good characters, not your cast-offs or your Kroger specials.
If Data and Worf are in this thing, I am. We're going to I don't know, take out a 12th mortgage or something and make this happen. I don't know.
Wizard, have you heard any news about the casting?
I have not. Just besides those auditions that have been posted,
Right.
I have not. I do know they're having virtual auditions now. They have until Monday to submit them. So they should be casting super soon and finish with that next week. They should be picking their choices there. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, it was in person, but they're closed, so they're doing virtual submissions. So they're moving pretty quickly, which should be quite nice.
Oh, well, I can't wait to hear more about what is going to be featured at FanFest Nights. It's something I'm watching very, very closely. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why these fires, they're very, very concerning, because I kind of want to see this thing, let's not have any fires pop up next to Universal Studios Hollywood.
That
would be nice. Well, I'm just saying. Obviously, our hearts are with people who have lost everything in their homes and all of that. I'm not saying that they're not. We're absolutely very important. But Universal
to lose
Hollywood,
the
come on.
theme park would be terrible. Just terrible.
It'd be really bad, especially for the extended community. Now, speaking of Universal Studios Hollywood, and what might actually be going on there, Wizard, I do believe, and kind of want to get your assessment on this real quick, because things might change in your area. I'm not sure. So we probably only have you for a limited time. We know that there is a project going on, that being 515 and 294, regarding the whole security apparatus. We talked about this on a previous show, on how they're going to be relocating the security systems for Universal Studios Hollywood to be more incorporative of City Walk. Also, they're going to be building a new hotel complex. And we have Wizard on to talk about how some of this work has already begun. Wizard, please walk us through it, and what are the updates?
All right. So as of Monday, they have officially closed iFly, which is over here in that West Hub circle there. That plus the entrance to the East Hub and the Central Hub are all going to be part of a new security bubble. We'll close City Walk inside the theme park resort area, and it's going to be complete in 2026 per an email. And then we got the hotel project, which is all part of one big project, which is going to replace the current security area. And that entry hotel there is going to be right on the left side of the parking lot. And look, just like that, with a very cool, about 500 rooms, about maybe 11 stories tall, 500 rooms, with a nice little pool. And it'll be one nice little resort complex. And they're currently, Universal's pushing out or changing a lot of the City Walk stores and restaurants is City Walk's going through a nice little revamp at the moment with many things closing and many things opening over this year time frame. I feel like in 2026 might be a nice grand debut of the City Walk as well as the security area because lots of things are closing and lots of things are opening. So I feel like this is like one big transition period. And it'll be great because it'll be like a whole resort and it'll be more secure and they can hopefully put some more high end or nightlife in there, and it should be a pretty cool Orlando style destination.
Yeah, so City Walk is kind of their version of Disney Springs or Downtown Disney, right? People might be familiar with the Orlando version of this, but City Walk really, I think, had its start in a big way in LA and Hollywood. And it's a big kind of outdoor mall thoroughfare with a lot of shops and restaurants. And one of those being Abercrombie and Finch, taking up a huge retail space within this complex here. They are closing, which is, I mean, if you know that area, you know the history of City Walk, they've been there for like, 20 years, I think? I mean, just to see that massive retail complex actually be shuttered in that way is very surprising. So definitely a lot of movement on City Walk, specifically on this security apparatus right here. I got a question for you, Erica. Do you feel safer when you have to have your bags checked before you go into a shopping complex like this, before the theme park? Because some people are saying, well, it's a little inconvenient to have your bags checked before, like Disney Springs, for example, or even Universal's version of Orlando's version of City Walk. Do you find yourself being safer when you have to check your bags before something like this, or would you prefer that you only have to check your bags before you enter the theme park itself?
That's a good question because anytime that we've gone, I will admit there is a feeling of inconvenience, and I do find myself rolling my eyes at, "Ugh, really, is this necessary?" But considering the day and age that we live in and the spontaneity of unfortunate events, I don't think it's a complete bad idea. Um, I think what rubs people the wrong way more than anything is some of the, at least on the Disney side of it. I can't speak to I haven't been Universal enough to even speak to how they do things, but I know on the cast member side with Disney, they can tend to have an attitude. They can tend to really, uh, I don't know, and it just kind of rubs you the wrong way. It it's at the beginning of your day or evening and you're entering and it just can really sour, because all it takes is that one person, to not be professional and they're just rude, for no reason. You can be professional, but you don't have to be rude. Um, and there have been times where I've gone through security and I've, been friendly and try to kind of joke a little bit just to kind of make their workday a little easy. And they look at me like I have my nerve, even, um,
Erica,
addressing
you need
them.
Erica, you
Yeah.
need to meet the person last time I went to Universal. I was walking through the line, and thankfully we got a quick bag check, so it wasn't too bad. And there was this one older gentleman there, and I was wearing just kind of a cheap shirt we bought prior just to have for vacation, and stuff like that, some for the trip. And it was a Metallica shirt. And he stops me and he's like, "Do you even know who they are?" And I'm like, "Enter Sandman,
Wow.
Ride the Electric Chair, Unforgiven Part
Master of
1, 2, and
Puppets.
3." And
Yeah.
he was like, "Okay, you're good." And I'm like, boss mode. So I had a pretty good experience there. But yeah, it's kind of goes back to
It is
you
hit or
make a
miss,
really good point.
That's true.
it's hit or it's not consistent is the thing, and you expect consistency when it comes to, from security to customer service. Now I get security is not customer service. I do understand, that's kind of a different gig. But at the end of the day, they are still cast members and they still have a responsibility to bring that Disney training to the table.
You don't want to be
And there have been incidents where they've really just kind of taken it too far with some guests.
Yes.
You read through the forums, you read through from Reddit to the Facebook groups, some of these situations where they've really just taken things too far. And now I've also aside from security, it's not foolproof either. You still need to be vigilant and have awareness when you're going out. And this is just the military spouse in me. What's common sense for someone like me maybe isn't second nature to a tourist. Pickpocketing is a problem in Disney Springs. There are people that go in there and they do travel impacts. They do run operations of 3 to 4 people where you'll have one distracting you on one side, someone over here at a clothing rack. It's very well organized, and people have reported their lounge flies getting unzipped and people dipping into their purses and their backpacks. I've read those stories. So like security at least brings, the weapons out of it, that immediate danger, but it
Sometimes
still doesn't. You
when
still
I've
have to be.
gotten
You have to be responsible for you.
I've gotten into accidentally, mind you. I wasn't intentionally trying to do this. I try to be, safe, and I tend to like to carry a pocket knife with me, and a bigger size one, and maybe it's just the culture from where I'm at and stuff like that. But I've had times where I've gone through security. I'm like, well, dang, I still have my knife with me. Oops.
Ooh.
And it's like sometimes that's just by nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's supposed to be a preventative measure. But you were talking there earlier about how you don't want to start out the day like this, and nobody wants to start out the day feeling like they're treated like animals. I go to the grocery store and feel like I'm being treated like an animal by these big corporations, and then check out my own food after the process. It's annoying. But you have to wear that domino effect to where like you start off in such a gloomy mood. You want to enjoy the experience, and Universal just has such a fun entry point in it. It's actually very wisely set up. But going back to like with Disney, like you're here to have fun, and the first thing you get when you get into the park is that smell. It's just going to make the rest of your day start falling apart from there. So I think it's totally justified to have these concerns that you're speaking here, because this is literally your vacation. You're going here to have fun, and you're not going to expect the people who expect the sun serve them our silver platter. Those people are obviously drama queens, and we shouldn't cater them. But realistically speaking, it shouldn't be that much of an issue to go to a park and not feel like you're being treated like an object,
I can tell you right now, so at Disney, whether it be Disney Springs and at Disneyland Resort, Walt Disney World, and their various parks, for many people, the security is one of their first ever contacts with anybody on Disney property whatsoever. Right, that's one of their first points of contact that they have for your day. So that can really affect your day if it's not handled well. And unfortunately, some of these, security officers, at least at Disneyland, Wizard, back me up here.
Yeah, no, they're kind of rude.
They can be a little rude.
But not only that, this is not Disney World, so we don't have this Evolve scanner, so they have to search through the bag, and then leave all your zippers open, and the security lines can take up to an hour long.
Yeah.
If you're anything like me at an airport, they always bring you back for further screening. Not theme parks, but airports. They always do that to me. I don't know why.
Well,
in Disney World, I'm hearing through like the streamers and like those daily vloggers. I don't know if it's changed, but depending on the security guard, depends on how far they take it. They have been known to force you to take everything out of your bag piece by piece. There have been times where they do it for you. And most of us here understood is that, at least when I had family that worked there back then, they were not allowed to actually touch your stuff. They had these long sticks.
Right.
So they would take their long stick and just, kind of peer in, but they were not allowed to actually touch your stuff.
Right.
Now, I don't know if those policies have changed. I mean, you're talking, this is pre-pandemic. And I lost my train of thought.
Well, no. that process of checking in bags and so forth can be very, very, very time consuming. We don't have enough time to go over it today, but I show this picture because, and when we cover this story fully, I'll show you the proximity to this point in the line versus where this security checking is actually taking place. But this is a huge line at Disneyland Resort because of unions and so forth. Efficiency is not top of mind, unfortunately, when it comes to security at Disneyland Resort. I'm hoping for better at Universal Studios Hollywood, and I think there will be. Their theme park wizard actually has the update for us right here. Sections of the Jurassic parking under reservation right here. You took these photos there. And I believe there was a email sent to team members talking about how their security enhancement program that should be completed by, I believe, 2026? Is that right?
2026, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
And you see it's already starting. And look at this. So they have all these pieces of wood here. And they're painting them green. But this is so much wood that I mean, it just can't be for this one little area. So I think they're going to paint all this wood and they're going to just disperse it all over to all the massive projects and maybe even the hotel as well. So that's why I'm very curious. Unfortunately, I was excited to see where it's going to go, but then the fires happened, the park closed. So I'm still waiting to see where it's going to go. So hopefully it should be. The team members are back on site, so the park should be open tomorrow, and hopefully you can see where those walls are going. Hopefully they took the time because the construction workers were on site this whole week, still working on construction projects even though the guests were not. So, I hope they painted those walls, and we'll get to see where they go tomorrow.
Oh, insane! Progress never stops. At least at Universal, Disney, they'll take any.
I'm like, oh,
take
wait,
any excuse they can.
Fires? Okay, let's pause construction for a bit. Fire.
Yeah, we're down. Can't do it. Sorry. We'll relaunch construction the next quarter. It's kind of how that goes, at least at Universal Studios. I'm sorry, Disney, as opposed to Universal Studios. That is for sure. Now, Wizard, I know you're dealing with a lot on your end, so if you have to dip out at any time, just let me know. And we'll get
I will. But I think we're good so far. That big warning that we got was a mistake. I mean, it was we're in the Woodland Hills, but it was a little bit to the east or west of us, but it went out to the entire city of LA, which was a mistake error on whoever the tech guy is part on the city is. So we're just in the group chat here, but I'm just trying to calm everybody down, but it's okay. You gotta take some breaths because you can't do anything when you're so I'm just trying to calm everybody down. But yes, I'm here. I'm here semi-mentally, but I'm still here.
Good. Well, I'll take the semi-mentality. How about that? If for those unaware, Wizard is he is in Southern California. He's not. I mean, he's a safe distance away, at least from the Palisades fire and everything like that. But there have been some fires that have popped up nearby, and so we're all kind of monitoring those and making sure that everybody's okay out there in Southern California, including theme park wizard himself. That brings us to our next story, this being the closure of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad for all of 2025. Yes, you heard that correct, folks. Its last day of operation in 2025 actually took place on January 5th, 2025. It's going to be down for an entire year. And people were lining up all the way down Frontierland in order to get their last ride on the wildest ride in the wilderness. You can see right here, photos, video, our last ride on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad until 2026. This is from Block Mickey. Some beautiful photos of, I would say, a ride that needs a bit of work. People lining up all over the place in order to see their last ride on this for the year. I went on this ride in August of 2023, and I will say, maintenance is definitely a thing.
Boom! Disregard the evacuation warning. Sorry, I realized you can hear that, huh? It just comes up so suddenly.
Are you sticking around or are you bailing?
No, it says, see, that was the one because they made an error. So they said this one was to disregard that warning, but they still wanted to make a loud buzz on my phone to tell me that. So, yes.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, LA. Very much appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Let us know that to disregard messages.
Yeah. Imagine with like 2 a.m. Burn, evacuation.
Oh, I've been through that, dude. Like, okay, side tangent. Sorry, I don't want to distract from the story, but when we went down to Busch Gardens, Tampa, we stayed at this hotel. It was like a Marriott or something, and we were on like the top floor. And it was like 2 in the morning, and then I think someone hit a vape in the elevator, and the fire alarm starts going off. And everyone had to evacuate the hotel, and everybody's on the ground floor, looking like they just got out of bed. And we had to go to the nearby hotel to use the restroom. It was, sorry, rant over. Continue story.
Yeah, oh my God. See, look, Go and Shoggy, they got the same message. And their soul left their body. See that? See that? The thing's so loud.
Oh man, yeah, no,
left.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
When I was talking about unity earlier, I didn't mean in terms of being terrified by fire alarms.
I know. Oh my God, it's like, God, that's so loud.
Sorry, guys. Very much apologize for all the delays. Goodness gracious, and now this won't share. Well, great. That's just fantastic. Awesome. Sorry. Well. Looks like we have to do a little bit of preventative maintenance here in that Park Place studio, as well as Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Oh boy, Wizard, keep us abreast of any updates that you might have, because we're interested in those stories there. You can see though, long lines, and we were all kind of wondering, like, why the demand for such an attraction, even at this point in the year. While it is going to go down for a year, it's only a year. I couldn't quite figure it out, and I think Drew really cracked the code on this. Let me see if I can bring up his tweet talking about all this, because I think it was really profound. Yeah, here we go. It is this, indeed. This is going to be the last ride that people have with the adjoining Rivers of America. Big Thunder's situated a little bit differently than it is in Disneyland in this Magic Kingdom version, in that it hugs the side of the Rivers of America and actually juts out over it. It's a really cool, beautiful view. Especially
why not kill two birds with one stone?
Yeah, exactly. But this is going to be the last time, that the Rivers of America will sit adjacent to this Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And didn't quite put that together at the time, and now this is going to be the reality for this attraction. We already have, unfortunately, this is already closed, so you can see the construction walls right there. Track demolition is already taking place, and if I have the images, you can kind of see construction crews already taking this thing apart. You can see right here, big piece of track being displaced here. So it looks like there will be a partial track replacement, at least, which is very, very good, especially from an attraction dating back to 1980. I think it needs it. But everybody's got his thoughts in the panel.
Sweet. Why is it going to take a year?
That's the big question, isn't it?
The new magic.
Whatever
that is.
Wasn't it speculated months ago that it was to help boost Tiana's Bayou in some way? They're hoping the crowd will kind of flock over there.
Oh, that's interesting.
It'll boost. Like there was some kind of manipulation tactic there. It was speculated. I don't know.
But how does it boost if the ride's broken?
Yeah, right.
Yes, Tiana's broke down adventure. That's fantastic there. I guess the TBA acronym is very fitting. Go ahead. Sorry, Eric.
I know. I always think of that. Oh my God. Okay, wait a second. Time out. I decided I'm checking Disneyland's app, and yes, the Tiana is temporarily closed at this point.
Oh
boy! Wow.
Oh, sorry, Erica. You were saying.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, the timing is just. Sorry. That took me aback when you said that with Rivers of America. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like, uh-oh.
And is this for sure? They've got the permitting and everything through Swift Tide is all squared away, and they're going to actually start breaking ground to get rid of Rivers of America.
So the South Florida Water Management District was the district that had problems with the initial permitting process. To recap for everybody, initially the Swift Mud is kind of what we call it lovingly here in the That Park Place network. Were the ones that said, "Hey, look, listen, you gotta take these back and resubmit these permits again because they're not up to the standard that we require, especially for the approval of large scale work involving." I mean, the Walt Disney World property sits within the Everglades, right, which is very, very important to the ecology and environment of Central Florida. So they were looking for a little bit more clarification on the plans that Disney had submitted. Remember, Disney hasn't usually had to do this before because they had unrestricted administration over this area of land. Well, when they when that order came down, the timeline, the deadline was, I believe, initially, I think it was 60 days, and that got all the way down to like 10 days. Disney requested more time. They requested an additional 60 days. They were only granted 30 days, and now they have resubmitted their plans. We have not heard yet back from SwiftMud on whether or not those permits and plans are approved. But, I mean...
everything's up in the air then. So
Yeah.
this is just, we're speculating that this could potentially be the last time we see Rivers of America adjacent to Thunder Mountain.
That is true. However, it is likely that those plans go forward. I mean, the company has not backed down
Really?
in terms of their plans for Rivers of America. Yeah, and it's super sad. Hopefully, somebody, whether it be Siftod or SwiftMud or somebody, can shake Disney to their senses and say, this is a bad idea. Do not get rid of the Rivers of America, especially this part.
The hippies who chain themselves to Rivers of America and stop it from happening. Maybe they could talk some sense into it.
Yes, we need the environmentalists who,
Yes,
took out.
come on, hippie.
We're not like that in Florida. It's like
Well,
it ain't gonna happen.
So
Let me say,
please.
oh no, I just did a quick little aside. My roommate was just laughing at me because I was on this live stream while the ring of fire surrounded me, and he was just dying. And I thought that was the funniest thing.
Yeah, it's a strange place where we get to tap. Well, listen, Wizard, with your, if a power outage comes through and you're forced to evacuate, just know that the last thing you did was join us here on T3PO Live.
Right.
There you go.
You're plugging in the afterlife now? We're doing that?
No, I didn't say afterlife. I just said if he was evacuated. That's the last thing he did before he was evacuated. Come on, it's tough, but you can see an overview shot of Rivers of America and Big Thunder Mountain adjacent to it. The history of Walt Disney World, actually, the environmentalists had a big impact on Project X, as it was known back in the late 1960s. Remember, Walt Disney wanted to go with a Mineral King project in, I think, northern central California, roughly. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that because the environmentalists spoke out and said, hey, wait a minute, you want to take a locomotive or a train or a monorail to this place? That's going to cause substantial deforestation. We can't allow that. And they switched focus to Project X, or as it's known as Walt Disney World Resort today. Now, even then, they had environmentalists had problems. And so Disney, back at the time, dedicated so much land, and I forgot what the percentages were, or the exact figures, but so much land is dedicated to just reserves. Like, it will never be developed. Mm-hmm. It is just there for the environment of Central Florida. Now, that land shifts occasionally because they didn't actually mark where that was supposed to take place. So sometimes you'll hear Disney acquiring more land in Florida, and you're like, why are they doing that? There's so much unbuilt land. Some of that is because they need a certain percentage for environmental reasons. So that's what's going on.
Thank you, like Walt and company of the past, for causing that sort of thing to happen. Because, I don't ever want to see, especially if Bob Iger ever wants to go back into, pursuing those avenues, in certain more powerful roles again one day, I don't want to ever hear his face talk about environmental stuff, because they're literally okay with draining a river like that is doing it no harm, and you have other land to build stuff. No sense.
Yes.
I just don't
It makes
understand,
absolutely no sense.
it's just, so for one, I was already annoyed when they had built the Cars land at Disneyland and we didn't get that at Disney World.
Mhm.
And and I raised boys, so I'm biased when it comes to Disney having IPs for boys that worked, and Cars was, oh my gosh, Christian was just obsessed with Cars because the first movie
Ew.
came out when he was like 2, so
Ka-chow.
he literally grew up with Disney's Cars, and he'll even tell you that's my childhood, you know.
Yeah.
And to hear that we're getting this, not even an actual Lightning McQueen, you know, um, attraction where boys can ride Lightning McQueen, it's gonna be some variant of a race car attraction that's in the genre of Cars, but it's just it's very generic,
Yes,
and
like
we're
Carland.
not even getting we're not really getting Route 66. We're not getting
Nope.
the strip, with the little tire guy and the diner, and those characters. And it's like, and it doesn't even require a massive space because the movie itself, it's a small town. It's really small. Like you could fit that, in back of Thunder Mountain and give us a copy of what you have in California. I mean, and Disney World, by definition, is where you have your heaviest tourism. No offense to you
World,
guys out there
not
in
land.
California, but I've been questioning for years, why was it Disneyland got that and not Disney World? And don't get me started on Pixie Hollow. I'm still so salty about that. I did not get my Pixie Hollow, and I really filed my complaint on that one when my family member worked for Disney. I was like, who, what idiot thought of that? And I just got to look, and I never got an explanation.
Yeah. What you're seeing on screen right here is the Raider Springs as it currently exists out there in Disney California Adventure.
Wow.
You can see Lightning McQueen right there.
And it's adorable.
freaking
It's
awesome.
cute.
Yeah.
I can't wait to visit it. And even Krishna, him being 21, he's like, I'm 21 years old. He goes, I still want to go see that. He's like, that's
Yes.
my childhood.
Mhm.
Why can't we get that? Because that would sell. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're really going to rip out Rivers of America and you really want to do that, then at the very least, bring this out. I mean, and even then, I'm still not happy about that because they have, to Pro's point, they could put it, on the other side of Thunder Mountain.
Yes.
No, they can't because you guys are
And
very landlocked.
Yeah. All this green space out here in around Magic Kingdom, and we're gonna pick up Rivers of America for it. Now, I will say
They should have picked
I've
something.
never
Sorry
actually
to interrupt
seen
you,
this,
Vash,
by the
but
way.
I just they should
Oh.
have picked something that was actually valuable to put there, like Ray or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, your most valuable cinematic asset right there, Ray Skywalker. Fantastic. No, Raider Springs Racers is friggin' awesome, as you can see right here. The rock work is just absolutely incredible when you actually see it in person. It's wild because you look at it and you go, "That's all fake," but it looks 100% real.
So real.
It is incredible. And there were plans, Erica, to bring Radiator Springs Racers and some of this rock work over to Walt Disney World. That's actually why one of the
So now I have the same question again. What idiot thought of this idea?
I don't know, but we're not getting this. We're getting a subpar version of what we should have had all those years ago.
Dr. Dre, you're a Disneylander. They're getting it, not word.
Okay, that's fair.
Don't change sides on me.
Josh tomorrow, what's this whole east side versus west side thing you're talking about here?
Oh boy. Well, okay, fair enough. I am a Disneylander. That's true. Walt Disney World is getting a subpar version of what we have here at Disney California Adventure, and it's really, really sad because if Erica's right, if they were to bring a recreation of Cars Land to this Rivers of America project, I think maybe people might be able to get their head around that just a little bit because the rock work is very impressive,
more
right?
Redeemable.
Yes, because people know what they're getting.
Even though, yeah, and it would be the actual real IP. Like we're getting Lightning McQueen, and we're getting, Tomater, and all these other great characters. But are we even getting that? No. Like if a little boy cannot ride Lightning McQueen, then what's the freaking point?
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I raise boys, so this is where my mind is at, and I have a grandson. He's a newborn, but in the coming years, it's like, I'm sorry, like what? He's gonna want to ride Lightning McQueen, not some generic version of, just saying.
It's okay. If he doesn't like it, he can ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
If it's open.
No,
Like that's happening.
terrible.
I mean, it remains to even be seen what that child will grow up to even like in terms of entertainment and characters. Like, he's a baby in arms, so who knows what
Cars
coming up around the bend for that generation.
I would like to make
Erica?
a safe bet for your grandson, Erica. He's probably going to pick anything that Bob Iger thinks is not hip. Anything Disney's doing, he's gonna want the opposite. Is probably what's
It'll be whatever my son and his wife promotes in front of them. That's honestly what it boils down to with kids. It's all what the parents introduce and what they foster at home is what the kids typically, kind of tend to gravitate to. If you really want your little girl to be into the Disney princess thing, it's not too hard. You just put them in front of the TV with the princess movies and really kind of foster it. They'll latch on.
Get them at the right age though, before it's too late. But if you do it early enough,
you have to get it. Yeah, you have to get there at the right time. Otherwise, it can be a miss. I do have a niece that's she can go. Way tomboy and all in with dinosaurs and dragons, and then she can go pretty in pink, polar opposite. She bounces from one extreme to the other.
So you talk about the appeal, especially the gendered appeal of Cars. Cars is a huge franchise for Disney. That's why they dedicated
I think it's adorable.
Yeah, 10 plus acres to Cars Land and Disney California Adventure, one of their smallest parks, because they knew it was a big franchise, big property. And that goes back to Michael Eisner. Michael Eisner, like one of the very last things he did before making his exit from the company forcibly, was decide upon Pixar's, at that time, last film that they were ever going to do for Disney. And because they had a multi-picture deal with them, this was before they were acquired officially by Disney. And the options put in front of Michael Eisner were either Cars or Toy Story 3. And again, this is back 2003 or so. Toy Story 3 wouldn't come out until 2010 under the Disney regime. But Michael Eisner's like Cars, because when he was at Paramount, he actually saw the success of stuff like Hot Wheels, and he's like, Cars for sure.
Hot Wheels. Can I just tell you about Hot Wheels and my son?
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't Disney's Cars, that child would go down the toys, and he had to have every freaking Hot Wheel there was.
Beat that.
He inherited a whole box of old Hot Wheels from like the 80s from his uncle, one of my brother-in-laws. I mean, he played with them so much, some of them broke, and we didn't really take care of them. I mean, not that my brother-in-law even cared anyways, but yeah, Cars was just this child's obsession. Trains and cars. It was Thomas the Tank Engine, Hot Wheels, and Disney's Cars.
Good man.
And
Good man.
Mario. He had a big Mario Kart.
Raise them right.
Because Mario Kart, there again, cars. This child was obsessed with wheels. Anything that had wheels and would go fast was his niche. And there are families that are into NASCAR and even the European circuit of racing. And I liked all three of the movies. I thought they were cute.
Me
They,
too.
went into different sectors of racing because not everyone's into NASCAR. You got the European, circuit in there, and I actually personally like that one better than the first movie. But I thought each movie was just as cute as the first one. I mean, you're talking movies for kids too, and for boys. Boys are so easy. You guys are you're so easy to raise. You
We
don't
sure
complain.
are.
You're
We're
happy
also
to
easy,
try
we're also
anything.
easy. We're easy to dress
You're
too.
not picky.
Yes. I tell my mother all the time. I was like, man, you're so lucky that I came out a boy, because man, you don't have to deal with the makeup, you don't have to deal with any crazy exes that I might have.
You don't
It's
fight
just
back.
all
You don't
good.
really give an attitude, although the attitude's just different. And I'm not going to say I haven't
It's
encountered a
different.
few like roll the eyes, but it's still different because you guys don't typically hold a grudge like a girl does.
Mm-hmm.
Like the grudge we're all about to hold on Josh tomorrow after this.
Oh, that's never going away. Him or Iger.
Oh boy. Well, that just about
Literally.
concludes that story, but we're not done with roller coasters going away. In this case, going away
fun.
permanently. We weren't able to feature the story when it initially broke, but now we're back, folks, and we have to feature it. Here we go. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. We've been keeping up with this story for quite some time, and now we've gotten official confirmation that it will close permanently in 2025. Again, it was rumor, though, for a long time, and people were looking at notice of commencements featuring Intamin as the manufacturer in question. They were talking about the maintenance issues, specifically surrounding Rip Ride Rocket entirely. And now, it's interesting. We had, let me see if I can find this document right here. Yes, this is the notice of commencement for, no, this is the actual document saying, yes, remove existing attraction, replace it with proposed attraction. Sorry about that. That's how we were informed that Rip Ride Rocket is finally going away. And you can see the place highlighted where this work is supposed to take place. Now, Universal then responded to a Twitter account asking them, hey, do you have a closing date for Rip Ride Rocket yet? Or do we have to keep digging at permit filings, because this wasn't official news at this point? Universal then confirmed that report through their Universal Orlando Resort Twitter account saying, hello, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket will close in early September 2025 to make way for a new experience. More details will be available at a later date. Now, here's the question. What are they going to replace this with? We know that the notice of commencement features Intamin as the manufacturer for a coaster taking place somewhere perhaps in this area. We're like 90% sure that Intamin's going to be the coaster manufacturer involved in its replacement. But
they might pull a Disney. They might replace it with cars, except these cars are from Fast and the Furious. They might do that.
You know where we're going there, right? Fast and the Furious.
Oh
the
my
Intamin
gosh,
coaster.
are you serious?
Yes, perhaps the same coaster that will be constructed at Universal Studios Hollywood will take up residence to replace Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket there at Universal Studios Florida. There's also another theme that people are speculating, and that being Ghostbusters, because if people are familiar with this area down here is the old Ghostbusters facade that for the stage show that used to exist in the very early life of Universal Studios Florida, when they did retain some of those rights.
Thing was so cool. That
It
show
was
was
cool.
so awesome. I once heard about, not to detour, but I once heard about a time where you had like 4 different performers, they're supposed to be on the role of Ghostbusters, and they had to fight like Gozer or something like that. And they had the proton packs and everything, and people were excited for the show. Well, they're all actors and such, and they have to wait for like a certain key point to, come on. Like they're going to get their cue and then they're going to come on the stage. Well, apparently there was a grave mistake that happened, and the other 3 Ghostbusters didn't get their cue. So during the show, we have the one lone Ghostbuster fighting the evil boss girl, and he's all alone. So the actor has to start improvising. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm fighting this alone. It's so scary." And they didn't get the help. So the effects go off, and then afterwards they apologize to the crowd and are like, "We're so sorry this happened." They did immediately with the Ghostbusters after the fact. And it's just so, yeah, like they got a chance to do that. And I think it would be so cool to see them revitalize this in a new way. So, Vash, are you talking about maybe like a Ghostbusters coaster here?
Yes, that is there's 2 rumors, competing rumors. One is Fast and Furious, and Wizard, he has more knowledge on this, so I'm kind of burying it for right now because I want Wizard to clean this up here. But the facade that Rip Ride Rocket currently rips out of is the old facade, like Nolan said, for the for the Ghostbusters stage show that used to be there. That was kind of a recreation of the firehouse facade from obviously the famous movie. Well, there are some indications that might be taking place if you look at the permit filings. So the permit filings have 2 new structures being built right beyond this facade. And so people are like, okay, is this a load area, unload area? And if it's going to take place on the Ghostbuster side of things, maybe they're going for a Ghostbusters theme. The other being a recreation of the Fast and Furious coaster out there, Hollywood Drift at Universal Studios Hollywood. Wizard, just cut to the noise. What do you got?
Well, let's see. It's again 2 competing rumors. Both of them will have the Intamin spinning technology. So whether it's Ecto 1 spinning or Fast and Furious cars spinning, something will be spinning, controlled spinning. But they have the Ghostbusters one, and then they have the Fast and Furious one. And the Fast and Furious one goes a little bit deeper, as in I'm hearing they want to use some props from the Fast and Furious Supercharged attraction for this new coaster and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So they knock off Rip Ride Rocket and knock off Supercharge, the hated attraction Supercharge. Use those props in this queue for the new coaster, and then go ahead and repurpose the Supercharged attraction as something else, and then as like some type of third part or part 2 later on down the line, or I mean not later on down the line, but as a same rumor but like less so, is the Men in Black might change over to a Ghostbusters dark ride. So we'll have to see which one comes to fruition. It's just funny that you mentioned Disney and Universal car rides. It's funny how this car ride, no matter which car it is, will open up before Disney's Cars Land in 2026 or early 2027. And I think that's hilarious.
Well, I am hopeful that, look, if it was me, I'd be leaning more towards like the Ghostbusters theme. Sorry, I was delineating between the 2 franchises. Ghostbusters would be my ideal choice. However, I understand that may not occur in that Fast and Furious. Obviously, it's a much more relevant brand for Universal. They would be, taking out 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak, if they were to reuse a lot of the propping and so forth from Fast and Furious Supercharged and reuse it over here. And also, too, Ghostbusters isn't necessarily owned by Universal. I think they really want to establish their own IP first and foremost, and then look at secondary IP. But guys, what would you be advocating for? Nolan, go ahead and start with you. Ghostbusters, Fast and Furious.
Oh, the decision's obvious for me. I would love for them to put a Ghostbusters thing in there. I am not even the biggest Ghostbusters fan in the world, but I'm just a sucker for that kind of aesthetic. I find the concept of Ghostbusters very creative. They got so many memorable different characters and themes, and like I got to experience the Ghostbuster experience they did at Halloween Horror Nights here last September or so, and it was all themed to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And it was just top-notch incredible. It wasn't even all that scary. It's just like they had of course, the proton packs, but they had like a bunch of like mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that they would put across the attraction, have them like climbing up on things. They had like whatever the villain was in that movie, like the really tall creature thing, that girl.
Oh yes, that big thing,
yes,
ice thingy.
Yeah, they had the like actors on like stilts and stuff like that. this could be incredible. And Ghostbusters has actually continued to stay a pretty relevant brand despite a lot of missteps and stuff and movies not coming out over time. So I think it's kind of an evergreen franchise right now. And I think there's a lot of potential in doing that. No knock on Fast and the Furious, but I think you're just going to get, within America, I think you're going to get a bigger fan reaction to Ghostbusters. And of course, I think Fast and the Furious might have a bigger global scale, so you do have to factor in people coming to Universal from other countries. But if I had to pick, like, Universal already has a Fast and the Furious ride, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I really did. But I think this could just leave such a bigger impact, and I guess they don't really need to right now with Epic Universe, but I would absolutely think a Ghostbusters ride would be almost a dream come true. I think it'd be so cool.
Erica, last word on this. What would you advocate for? Ghostbusters, Fast and Furious?
So my thoughts on the whole thing is if you're going to go with Ghostbusters, I think it needs to appeal to all ages because us 80s kids, that are grown now, and we're kind of passing that on to our kids. And I think relatively semi-successfully, more so than Fast and the Furious. I think I'm just over it with Fast and the Furious. There's just too many movies that they're all getting convoluted and it's just gotten ridiculous and out of hand. Out of the two, I think Ghostbusters is a better market for families. But then for an attraction, I wouldn't go really in the direction of a roller coaster. I would do something different that would involve the family. But if you're talking just coasters, in a way, I think Fast and Furious might be a better fit if you're just talking roller coasters. Just because of the name and the speed, and it just kind of carries that weight.
That's a good point.
But Ghostbusters, if they're going to bring that to the table, I really hope it wouldn't be in the form of a roller coaster, because you really have an opportunity to market this to the family unit and really make this franchise generational and timeless.
Yes,
this is why.
Erica, that's exactly. Sorry to cut you off, Vash, but this is so relevant. So I was saying a few weeks ago, that's the problem with retheming Rock and Roller Coaster to the Muppets, because you have that gap.
Exactly.
It just, all you do is seclude 80s babies over to there as opposed to introducing it to a new generation. So I 100% actually agree with you on that.
This is why I think a Ghostbusters dark ride is better, I think, than a coaster, to Erica's point, because it could be more incorporative of the family, as Wizard has amusingly said.
And I got ideas. Universal, you want Ghostbusters ideas. I mean, from give me a ride where I can catch Slimer. That'd be fun. Or let me just shoot the little marshmallow dudes. That would be fun.
This is what Wizard was talking about, though. Retheming Men in Black, Alien Attack to Ghostbusters. That could be, that could be really something. Right
but that removes my precious Men in Black ride. I don't want that.
S'mores.
And by the way,
Erica, they have that.
Huh? Yeah, I know. I had actually a challenge from Lorena to create, and I forgot to do it over Halloween. I still want to do it, where we recreate the Marshmallow Man March s'more with a cookie cutter. Yeah, it was a whole thing months ago, and I kind of forgot about it.
Sorry, Wizard. Your point there.
I was gonna say, by the way, not sure how true this is, but I think the Ghostbusters to Sony thing kind of came up as not even like a universal thing, but almost like a direction from Sony themselves, as Ghostbusters more in style than Men in Black at the moment. And Men in Black Sony attraction, and they just signed that. I don't know if they did, but it seems like they signed some sort of new contract with all the Ghostbusters representation with the parade and the sensational. So I feel like, again, not sure how true it is, but I just heard that maybe this is a potential Sony direction that they said, hey, let's bring in Ghostbusters and let's take out Men in Black type of sort of situation.
Absolutely, because she's Erica. That's why the mom. That's why she's hitting home run after home run.
I have to say something on that. When I'm comfortable, it just depends on the environment and the people I'm with. It depends on what Erica is gonna. When I'm really comfortable, this is how I come out. And I tend to come out like this on Lorena's stream too. So
Spicy
yeah,
lounge.
it just really depends, and it depends on the topic. But yeah.
Well, people can subscribe to Erica on Hanging with Erica and Raph right here. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat right here so that people have a link directly to the channel. It's also going to be available in the description if you're watching this on a restream, for example. Definitely check out Hanging with Erica and Raph right there. I think it's a great YouTube channel. What do you got going on real quickly? Because I think Nolan has to go as well. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so we're just expats in Germany, early empty nesters, and we're just kind of vlogging, our area and life out here. We're still really just kind of figuring out the YouTube space. We're still really new. As far as live streams and commentary, I haven't brought that space into our channel. So for that, you can find me wherever I'm invited, which would be here. Follow the Bradley's Fun, Lorena's Spice Lounge, WW Pro is I kind of bounce around. But our channel is focused on basically me and Raph and just Germany, whatever we feel like vlogging. And I just loaded New Year's, what it looked like in our village. And I'm currently vlogging or editing a medieval Christmas market that we went to. We are delayed on videos because Raph got really sick for 2 weeks. So, and really sick. So I'm playing catch up with the channel.
Hey, no problem. I very much appreciate your time here on this channel. I know you dedicate a lot of time and energy towards yours as well. So anything we can do to help out the channel, help out Raph, well, that's it's okay in my book.
We just need subs.
Yes, go over there, subscribe. What are you guys doing?
We're doing great on views,
people.
but the watch time, we're doing great at the watch hours. It's just we need subs. That's really the big thing is subscribers.
Come on over, get some go ahead and subscribe to Hanging with Erica and Raph. I think it's a wonderful YouTube channel. Nolan, I do apologize for keeping you longer than you need to be. I very much apologize. I'll be more on top of it next time.
It's all
here.
good, bro.
Nolan, thank
You're
you so much for joining us.
Master host, you had a lot to run here, so it's all well and good. Always an honor and always blessed to be here, my friend. All right, so you can find me on Nolan Thunder. You see this game? It's called Super Mario 64 right here. This copy right here might not be the same as the other one because apparently Nintendo in the 1990s utilized an experimental artificial intelligence to make every copy of the game unique. It's going to be a wild one, and if you want to figure out more about that in about, okay, I'm not going to say a date yet. Now I have a date, but we're getting close. In the near future, there should be a video and a little documentary on that. So if you like that sort of thing and video game mysteries and media mysteries and internet mysteries in general, please check me out my channel at Nolan Thunder. And once again, I always say, always such an honor to be here with such amazing people. You guys are all smart and cool, and you guys are amazing.
Absolutely. And if you are looking to see more of Nolan Thunder, well, guess what? Don't touch that dial because he's going to be on Toontown TV following this show right here. And you'll be redirected over there to Marvin Montanero's or Marvin the Movie Monster's amazing stream over there. So, just stick around. You'll see more of Nolan. Don't worry about it. But I know he's got to go right now. So I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm going now o'clock. But just remote, if you don't mind. We should be covering a bit of Cynthia Erivo wanting to be Storm in the MCU. And we're also talking about how much of a corpse Star Wars is this time around. It's probably about Skeleton Crew and their skeleton viewership. So if you want to hear some great nerd talk, it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have some crazy conversations, everything from Harry Potter, Star Wars, and weird things. A lot of weird things. So if you like fun, please come check us out after the show. I have to bail, but always an honor, Vash, Erica, Theme Park Wizard. I hope you guys all have an awesome night.
Absolutely. We hope you have an awesome night as well. Thank you, Nolan. Get out of here. Come on. You gotta, Marvin needs you.
It says, wait. It's saying it's uploading. Wait, I'll upload it here. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, man. Very much appreciate that. Last but certainly not least, Wizard, what do you got going on over there at Theme Park Wizard, sir?
We got lots of Universal and Disney and Six Flags content right here in Southern California. subscribe. We're almost at 6,000. And then you can follow me on X, Twitter, or X, Instagram, and all those social medias. And I just became a travel agent. I put my travel agent email in the private chat to put in the description or whatever you want to do with it. But if you want to go somewhere to Epic Universe or anywhere else, yeah, you can go ahead and email that email. I can't do it from any other email. So that email right there, and then you can book with me and get some nice little discounts.
Here you go. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat right here. I'll go ahead and update the description later on so that we make sure we promote Wizard as much as possible right here. Go ahead and use that email provided. Oh, the StreamYard link? No, I don't know what that is. Wizard, what did you give me?
Well,
I see what happened.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
Copy and paste.
Sorry, I was a little fast in the draw there.
It starts after the mail too. There you go.
This is fantastic. Let me see if I can get a better. Sorry.
My sticky notes.
Sorry, guys. Very much apologize. Mail to. Okay. This one right here, right? This one. Okay, corrected. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Very much apologize. Again, I'm doing all.
Oh my god! It's
this.
Hold on. Wait. Sorry.
While
people.
standing.
I think I just gave you the wrong email. It's the same thing.
Oh no!
It's this one. Hold on. Hold on, peoples. At Winds in the East. There you go. Travel.
Yes.
See, it's so long. See, guys, this is how new I am. There you go. Yes, there we go. Oh, and the comment of the post. Oh, did I do it on the wrong thing? Okay.
Yeah, you did
One more time.
Try
All
that.
right, let's do it again.
This is this is fantastic. Thank you so much, Wizard, for
we're going haywire.
Yeah. Oh, the mum. The mum.
There we
Get us
go.
up right here. Okay. Here we go. Do we have it? Let me check it before we actually send this off here. Yes, that should be it. Seems like the same one that you had last time, but we'll go with that one.
Yeah, no, the other one I put East in the Winds, but then it's Winds in the East.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, there you go. Guys, if you want to go ahead and mail or email Wizard about your travel needs, definitely check him out at Becker at Winds in the East Travel.com right there. That link's going to be in there. And yeah, I'll update the description on a going basis. That way we support Wizard in his efforts. I know he works very hard for you guys to bring you all of the content for Universal Studios Florida. Hey, look, I trust him more than Alicia Stella. I'm going to say it. I do.
Oh,
I think he's excellent. And hopefully people recognize your greatness there, Wizard. Very much appreciate that. And that just about wraps up our show. Let's see if I can. There you go. Yeah, a little music there. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to That Pod Place, where we are uploading not as regularly as we have in the past. I'm hoping to get to a more regular cadence for this channel, but we produce some amazing live streams like the one you're watching right now, T3PO Live at 5 on Thursdays. Also, to the Hollywood Backlot with Lou and You, a fan favorite that's going to be on 2 p.m. On Sundays, Eastern, that is. Also, too, you can find me at That Park Place, where we are producing all kinds of content over there. Obviously, the WWE Pro Show as well, which I'm sure you all are familiar with. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't liked this video, please hit the like button. You're going to be redirected over there to Toonie Talk TV, which is currently in progress, I am sure. So let's go ahead and get you over there. Thanks, guys. Very much appreciate it.